So the first combustion car is now on track. Car 248, the Ruhr Uni Bochum. And that gives a bit of a time to reflect on the times that we might expect. 2 years ago in Formula Student Germany 2019, the fastest combustion time on SkidPad was a 4.905 driven by ETS Montreal. And normally we expect the electric cars to be a bit faster than the combustion cars, Austin. Why is that?
Yeah, that's right, Steph. The electric cars, just by nature of the throttle mapping and how the power can be delivered, are a bit easier to keep at a constant speed as they go around the skid pad, whereas the combustion cars, you notice, can be a bit jumpy as they go around.
So where last time the fastest combustion time was a 4.9 from ETS Montreal, the fastest electric time was a 4.598. So that's well, about 0.2 of a second difference, and that has to do with the four-wheel abilities that the electric cars generally have. They can control the torque on each and every wheel separately, which in general most combustion cars don't have. I don't think any of them has that. We have seen four-wheel driven combustion cars in the past, and I think one of them is here as well, right? It's the Rome car, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Steph. I know last year, or 2018, I think, was when that car last competed at Formula Student Germany, and we really liked it then, and we really like it now. It's just all the cool ideas you want to put into a Formula Student car they've included, and now they've made it driverless, so just one more extra feature.
Next up is car 321, Baltic Racing from Stralsund. On their rear wing it says Nicolaus Otto Gedenkwagen. So I have to look up the commentary for him to see what that would mean.
And yeah, it looks like a very smooth run for the first time from Stralsund. Driver is swinging the tail out around the finish line, but not hitting any cones. Not sure it helped with the time at all because it was after the finish line, but it looked cool.
It was a 5.6 for Stralsund. About the same time as the fastest lap of the Bochum car, which was also a 5.604. But remember, Baltic Racing still has their second run of the first driver to go, which they take now. Boy, he does have some difficulties driving in the right gear. Now he found it. He found that steady state that all drivers are looking for in the skid pad. Although I do see a lot of steering movement, throttle action going on. This is not the easiest car to drive for skid pad, that's for sure. Driver did improve the time with a 5.526, so well done.
Yeah, driver really struggling now coming out of the exit with the throttle control. These cars typically are very difficult to control the throttles at very low speeds. Quite a lot of stalling and bucking and moving to and fro. But not necessarily anything wrong with the cars that do that.
Up next is the red car, car 239 from UAS Heilbronn. Normally they bring a lot of support, a local team. But I hope everybody's watching on the live stream.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see these guys out here so early today. We saw them in the test track yesterday, and they were black flagged. It looked like they had some issue leaking fluid or something smoking. Of course, they've fixed whatever the problem was, been through scrutineering again, and now they've taken the green flag for the skid pad. So fortunately for them, it wasn't a major issue they had whilst testing yesterday.
So the time is a 6.083. So as with the Starkstrom Augsburg car, we can see that UAS Heilbronn elects to have a bit more cautious first run. I think there's a bit more potential in this car, but again, as we said, it might make sense to do this.
Did the driver exit the skid pad one lap early? Or am I seeing things?
Well, I am still in parallel trying to get my tablet to work, the dashboard that we made, which loads all the feedback from the teams, which they can enter in the commentating feedback form. So if you are listening and you're part of a team that did not do that yet, or if you want to know whether your team has done it yet, all teams have the possibility to provide us, the commentators, with the information on your car, on any shout-outs, stickers on your car, hashtags, whatever. The name of your car, name of your drivers, anything you're proud of. Fill in the commentator form. Tomorrow, about 30 teams out of the total have only done it, so that's not so much. So please remind your teams to do that. Especially during autocross tomorrow and the endurance on Saturday. It will be very helpful for us when we can say who's driving and why you are proud of your car, what your struggles have been in the past year. So please do that.
So yeah, just to confirm, Steph, I wasn't seeing things. The driver from Heilbronn only took one left-hand loop, exited the track early, so they've scored a DNF for their second run. I guess the good news for them is that the right-hand loop was 1/10 of a second quicker on the second run, so hopefully the second driver can build on the work the first driver has done, but unfortunately their second run's a DNF because the driver left the track early.
Sorry, Austin, look at the brake area test. We can see some smoke coming out of the brake test area. This is more than just some tire smoke, for sure.
Looks like it's dissipated now. Nobody seems to be panicking or anything, so hopefully all is good.
Let me go and check which team that was.
We've now got car 127 from EPF Lausanne, about to enter the skid pad. Meanwhile, the engineers from Seville are still making the final adjustments to that car, so hopefully they can get it up and running quite quickly.
So Austin here from the brake test area. I think it was the CTU Prague car that had the smoke. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. But all is calm. I just spoke to one of the officials. There were no flames or so just a puff of smoke. So it looked worse than it probably was.
Okay, well, while you were investigating that, the car from Lausanne had their first run on the skid pad. The driver is visibly frustrated with themselves. They only took one right-hand loop before switching to the left-hand loop, which, as we just saw from the car from Heilbronn, will result in a DNF. Let's see if the driver looks like they want to take some time and calm down before making their second SkidPad run. Looks like they're really angry with themselves.
Which I fully understand, by the way. I mean, we have been here since years and years now, watching SkidPad events unfold. And every year there are multiple cars who don't do 2 right-hand turns and 2 left-hand turns, but any other strange combination, 3 on 1, 1 on 3, 2 on 3, 3 on 2. That happens. Of course, you feel a bit stupid about yourself when you're the driver. Let's be honest about that. But it happens. It happens a lot. And actually, I've driven Formula Student cars quite often, and I can imagine why you do that. I mean, it is quite a stressful period. You've been working very hard. Maybe you're not the most experienced driver, and well, tensions rise in the cockpit. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I was always too tall to be a driver on any of the Formula Student teams I was a member of. But I can imagine that when you're going around the SkidPad, you're so focused on pushing the car as fast as you can and not hitting any cones that sort of maybe which way to go slips your mind a little bit. And good news, it looks like Sevilla's made it to the start line and has started the SkidPad. And a clean run for Seville.
Do you honestly want to know? I'm still trying to connect to the internet here. So no, not yet. So Sevilla 6.2 in the right-hand turn. Left-handers seem to be a bit faster than that. Yes, and they are. The last left-hander was a 5.796, which averages it on a 6, flat, more or less. If they manage to do that left-hand turn, also the right side, it's a good time. Definitely some room for improvement there, but I think they can be happy about the performance. So the Sevilla car is now exiting the dynamic area, and things return to eerie quietness again. No cars are lining up, no cars are approaching the dynamic area so far. So that gives also Austin and me a little bit of time to check up on the internet, on the timing, so that for the next cars we will make sure that everything works as planned. And remember, for all the live viewers, the live timing you can find on tk.formulastudent.de. Then you can follow the timekeeping as well, together with the live stream, of course.
That's quite useful. It shows the time down to milliseconds, whereas the scoreboard in the arena here only goes down to hundredths of a second. And as we know, milliseconds can be very important.
Are you sure the public one also gives milliseconds? Because we have our secret commentator dashboard. We have the milliseconds, but I'm not quite sure whether the public one has that as well.
It's actually a good point. I don't know, Steph.
I think for SkidPad it has, but I don't think for endurance and autocross. But also for endurance and autocross, we, if we need it, we can have the millisecond. But for SkidPad, since it's well, sometimes quite close, everybody can see the milliseconds, I guess. I'm just checking that, by the way, and public can only see the 2 decimals. So if you would need any milliseconds, we have those.
Yeah, good point, Steph. I guess I was wrong. Apologies to anybody who was offended if they went to the timekeeping website and couldn't see milliseconds themselves.
And compliments to all the live viewers to be this early in the event having the live stream on. I'm actually quite curious whether there are big teams with a... I mean, only 8 people are here. Some of the teams, you know, Karlsruhe team or a Cat Racing or the Delft team or Ren team, they have big teams. Would they be now in a, you know, a cinema setting, all of them with popcorn, coffee and later on a beer, watching us?
Yeah, I'd imagine there's probably some teams who are treating this like an entertainment event, but probably also some teams who are treating this like a battle. So I can imagine they've got teams of engineers sat in their base at wherever they're located, watching all the telemetry and trying to help make some final adjustments or give suggestions on how to improve performance, sort of like at a Formula One race when you have the team at the factory.
Or maybe due to COVID regulations, everybody's just sitting at home individually and having a team speak on a Discord or whatever chat.
That's also quite possible. It wouldn't be 2021 without a Teams meeting, would it, Steph?
Don't forget Zoom. Next car coming up is the École Centrale de Lyon, a French team, now approaching the starting line of the SkidPad. Car 2, I'm too short.
8-1, 2-8-1.
Thank you.
At the moment, the marshals are giving some final instructions to the driver from Lyon about the procedure for the SkidPad. As we've seen a few times this morning, it's very important to follow the procedure properly, otherwise you'll be given a DNF for your run. In parallel, some of the other marshals are just checking that the car is all secured together and there's nothing obviously loose or broken, making sure that every car that competes is as safe as possible.
Car does have a good sound to it, doesn't it, Austin?
Yeah, it's got quite a rumble to it as it takes off in front of us, going around the right-hand loops, now switching to the left. Slight correction at the beginning of the first left-hand loop, but that shouldn't matter too much because it's only this second left-hand loop that's timed. Driver keeping it very steady, pretty close to the inside cones and across the line.
It sure was really steady. I think this was the most steady state we have seen so far today. The time they have is a 6.6. They have one run to go, which they elect to do right away. The front end of this car is quite high up, isn't it?
It is, yes, Steph. We've got plenty of ground clearance. Shouldn't be bothering out in the front of the car anyways. Should be well prepared if there are any surprise jumps as well.
Which we do have in the autocross and endurance track here in Germany. Many a team broke their drivetrain here somewhere at one of those jumps.
And they cross the line, and yeah, Steph, as you say, there are quite a few areas on the track where you can hear cars bottoming out normally, so hopefully the car from Leon doesn't have that problem. Got another car approaching the start line, car 145 from UAS Sankt Augustin.
So about the small puff of smoke we saw earlier today, I wrongly commented that it was CTU Prague. It was in fact to car 250. So, but nothing out of the extraordinary, so probably nothing too big going on there. So that's good for them.
Yeah, it's all right. And occasionally when you fire up the engine for the first time in the morning, there's a little bit of smoke. If the team has maybe spilt a little bit of oil or something working on the car last night, it just burns off and no problems. Just a little bit of smoke in the morning.
Up next is car 145, UAS Sankt Augustin. Probably the only car which is allowed to run at night. It's super bright, yellow highlights.
Yeah, and it's got a little thing on the front of the car so the driver knows which way he needs to go, some arrows pointing forward.
I don't think the driver can see it. It's out of the line of sight, I think.
Maybe that's a design flaw then. But it is, no, I do like the livery that they've got on this car. The yellow accents really bring out the white and blue. Must have taken ages to apply all the different stickers onto the front wing though.
So the centers in the wheels are quite open, aren't they, Austin?
Yeah, I really like the rims. You can see the brake calipers and the brake discs. Yeah, very open.
Very thin spokes. Cars named Luna, and that was decided by team member voting. Their goal actually is to be in the top 10 overall at this event.
So as the driver gets set to go to the starting line, it appears as if their visor is really fogged up. Hopefully they're still able to see the cones as they go around the circuit. And hopefully once the car gets moving, some of that condensation will disappear.
After Sankt Augustin, the Lisboa team, car 050, is in queue, and after that we have no cars yet. Their wing text in German is translated to be better skip an exam than miss a final. So one of those teams that elect to do Formula Student above studies probably. Which makes sense. I think we've done that.
Yeah, it's more fun, isn't it? The clean run for Sankt Augustin.
And I would argue that you learn more as well than with your exams, so good call.
Yeah, that's true, Steph. I think you can't say you've done Formula Student unless you've skipped an exam or rebuilt a race car in a hotel room or campground.
I don't think that's allowed anymore, Austin. I can remember about 10-15 years ago that sometimes we brought parts to the campsite to do something. At a certain point, one of the teams was making a jack bar out of an ironing board on our campground. I can remember that as well. But now there's no campsite.
No, there's not, obviously, for health and safety reasons this year, no campsite. But still, I mean, a great atmosphere in the pits. There's fewer team members, like you said, but still just as passionate as ever.
Second lap and fastest lap so far for Sankt Augustin was a 5.76. And remember that the fastest time of the day so far was a 5.16 from Green Team Stuttgart.
Scrutineering tests.
It is less warm
both
than the past
accumulator,
years.
electric,
But
mechanical.
We
So
do expect to have times well below the 5-second mark on the SkidPad event, at least for the electric class. For combustion in these conditions, a 5 flat is maybe the target to go for, and would be very good already.
Yeah, Steph, I think so. Like you said, normally it's a bit warmer, so the track will have more temperature in it and a little bit more grip in the tires.
I think for certain that there are no guarantees in Formula Student,
as well,
and especially the driverless part makes it ever so more complex.
Yeah, but it looks like Augsburg team is ready to go because they're pushing the car towards the starting line. So we might have one of our first tries here very soon. And we see one of the officials putting on some gloves as well. So with electric car, that's always a good idea. And probably do the last checks before he gives the car doesn't have really a green flag because the driver will know it, but probably release the car onto the track.
Will be quite nice. Maybe
just making sure that the car is perfectly straight.
That would be nice.
The best chance of just continuing on that path. Don't see autonomous lights just yet, but in a minute I hope we get some action on track. The first run of the day, of course, always sets a little bit the benchmark. We are every year on the same piece of tarmac, but that doesn't mean that it's all equal. There's different temperatures, different weather conditions, different cars as well.
Well, potentially, these cars have the ability to be quicker than all the other cars here, right? Because they don't have a driver.
Yes.
So the Lisboa car is taking a while. I thought HAWK Göttingen, who are up next, were allowed to go past, but no, they're not. So the Lisboa car is now starting. You can hear the ready to drive sound, or the beep, as we call it. Approaching the starting line now. FST10E might be their 10th car. Let's check that up.
And the driver looks to be struggling quite a bit with throttle control over the course of the first lap. They've taken out one cone. You can hear the engine revving up and...
Wow, this is not steady state. It might be actually the actuators from the car itself, not the driver doing that. Because we know these electric cars have quite advanced torque controls.
That's true. If I was the driver, I'd blame the electrics too.
Or the software. But it wasn't steady state, to be honest. It's just below the 6-second mark.
Driver doesn't look entirely happy with the setup. He or she is pulled off to, I think, make some changes and hopefully address the issue they had with the throttle control.
Lisbon this year so far came up 4th in Spain, and their driverless car came in 3rd in Spain. And it is their 10th car, so that's good. SkidPad driver is Ricardo Martins, or Martins, I don't know how you pronounce. How's your Portuguese, Austin? Mine is a bit rusty.
It sounds like you said it correctly one of the two ways. Not going to guess which one.
Oh, and the Lisbon team does want to thank Karlsruhe for giving them some of their plane bearings before FG to solve compliance issues that they had. And also Ecully X or Aachen, TU Vienna, Too Fast and Green team for helping them with solving them with some issues that arose during scrutineering. So that shows the sportsmanship here at the event, which luckily has not diminished due to COVID. It's still there.
Yeah, still really good atmosphere in the pit lane. The car from Göttingen takes the green flag. It's a very compact, clean-looking car. I like this. It's sort of an old-school throwback to before wings were prevalent everywhere.
I'm still looking at the information that the Lisbon team gave us, which is actually quite a lot. I also want to give a shout out to their project manager, which they left home, to Tiago Carvalho. Due to the downsizing, well, the team elected not to bring him along. And that's exactly what we were talking about. It's probably one of the core team members that has been vital in the creation of the car and successful execution of the project. And well, he's probably watching now.
Yeah, hopefully anyways. I mean, maybe he can give some input to the team and the driver in terms of what he can do to improve the second run. It was a Göttingen's second run immediately. This has been very steady so far, the first run and a half. There's very little sawing at the wheel, very steady state throttle, and across the line.
That's quite fast, Austin, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks very smooth. I'm not sure about how fast it is, but it looks very smooth.
It is a 5.81, and their car is named Hobble, or Hoppel, because the first drive, or driver, I don't know, maybe a typo, was a bit rabbit-like. Oh, I can remember that car. It had huge bumps and squats, you know, it went all over the place. Yeah. I can remember that. Yeah. And the HAWK Göttingen team wants to thank all the madmans and madwomans at home who helped them to make it possible.
Now have the electric car from Amberg about to take the start. This car has a few unique features on it, Steph.
Sorry?
This car has a few unique features on it. It's got radiators right over the front wing.
Oh wow!
For cooling, and it's actually got a flax fiber rear wing end plate.
It's Amberg Weiden, isn't it? Car 23.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, a flax fiber rear end plate. Looking towards the sustainable manufacturing techniques in future. Speaking with the team yesterday, they were saying that it doesn't quite have the same mechanical properties as a carbon fiber counterpart, but it's sufficient for what they needed to do for the wing end plates. So the team was also saying hopefully there'll be some developments in the field of flax fiber to improve the mechanical strength as we look to the future. Got some serrations on the front of the wing as well. I presume they're part functional, but they also make the car look very mean.
Well, they have to, because their team name Running Snail is not that mean, is it?
No, it doesn't strike fear into your hearts when you hear that team name. But
their results do, to be honest, because in 2018 they were top 3 here in Germany. They were 3rd. Last time that they were here, they were not able to drive, if my information here is correct. They have no scoring for acceleration, SkidPad, autocross or endurance. But this is one of the teams that, especially in the 16, 17, 18 period, was doing very well. 2019 was a bit less for them, but I would still reckon them, also if I look at the car, to be one of the contenders here for maybe a top 5 position, maybe a top 3 position even, because we know that some of the electrics do have some issues. So they will be taking their chances for top position, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, hopefully. They've got some sort of extreme engineering concepts on the car like I was just speaking about, so we'll see if they've paid off or not.
They were a bit cautious on their first round. But it is neat and steady state, so probably they elect to take it slow in the beginning and build up pace as the day comes along.
I mean, with the radiators on the front wing of the car, it almost looks like the car is meant to eat cones. But fortunately, no cones struck during the first SkidPad run. The driver electing to come take their second run immediately.
Their time was a 5.88.
Visually looking quicker this second run. I don't know if that transpires to the stopwatch, but
this is a lot faster, isn't it?
Certainly looks it.
It was a 5.33, so considerably faster, half a second.
And by my estimation, that puts them into the top 3 so far this morning, or maybe even the top 2.
I think they're second now. Yeah, right.
And just as you predicted, Steph, I can feel the sun start to beat through some of the clouds. It's getting a little bit warmer out here.
Yeah, I'm going to lose my soft shell. So that's a good sign for all the teams that still have to drive. Track conditions definitely will improve during the day. And I expect and I predict that it will be busy towards the end. So to all teams, my advice to you would be not to wait too long, because we know here in Germany they can be quite strict on the closing time. So make sure that you can get your runs in. Don't wait too long. At a certain point, the track is the track. It won't improve any further. Don't wait until the last 5 minutes. That would be my advice.
doing some tests now? Just the IMD. Okay, before the run. Yeah, but for the first
It has gone a little bit quiet here at the skid pad. Ready and waiting for any newcomers to take to the track.
Yeah, we thought that the winners of Formula Student Netherlands, the team from Dresden, might be coming to SkidPad, but they are going to the test track first, probably to scrub in the tires, and then they come here. We do see car 127. Are they turning in this lane? Yes, they are. They're coming here. That's the team from Lausanne, Swiss team.
They were on the SkidPad earlier. I believe they're one of the teams that had a DNF due to navigational error.
That's the politic way to say it. Navigational error. Can you remember in one of the first years that we had the driverless competition that another Swiss team actually, the Zurich team, smashed over the timekeeping equipment in the middle of the center line of the skid pad.
Yeah, the timekeeping guys weren't very happy when that happened. Fortunately, I think they were able to reset everything. But yeah, we've seen some driverless cars take out some timing equipment on skid pad every once in a while, and I think it's probably happened with a driver's car as well.
Or maybe the Swiss watchmakers just didn't like the timing equipment at hand. They thought that they might be able to do better.
Yeah, although being Swiss, you'd think they'd be good at going round and round in a reliable manner. Yeah, I can hear cars on both test tracks at the minute. One sort of on the first turn of the Grand Prix circuit, just by the North Curve, and one over by the paddock side of the dynamic area. But unfortunately for us, there's no cars waiting to partake in SkidPad at the moment. The Swiss team still very much right at the entrance, and now beginning to wheel their car forwards.
Austin, can you remember that we had the car with the Nicolaus Otto Gedenkwagen? One of the viewers commented that Nicolaus Otto, we might know him just for Otto, for the Otto cycle.
Ah, okay.
That one, from the combustion engine. So that's what that sticker was about. So thank you for commenting on that, and browsing through the other comments, but also I read that the our commentating stream and the one for the driverless acceleration might be mixed, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Yeah, so they have probably have got Mickey and Jonas mixed in with our stream, or they had actually 15 minutes ago. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Thank you for commenting on that. Currently 2 cars here in the dynamic area for the SkidPad event. First up is the car from Lausanne, and after that would be Bayreuth Elephant Racing. Car 029 is now approaching the area as well, but they are waiting all at the beginning, so probably they want to wait out as long as possible. But now they are instructed, okay, either go in the queue or leave, and they elect to go in the queue, so they're coming as well. Also at the beginning of the dynamic area we can see car E33 Zurich, car 878, I think it's Hamburg, I'm not quite sure. And that is about it, but also the other 2 cars can also go to the test area. So the layout of the track here has been changed a bit. So the racing track of the Hockenheim Ring near the Noordkurve grandstands, that is now the testing area. That's usually the part where the endurance goes all the way to the far end from our position. And all the cars have to enter the dynamic area via the Brunel tent, as we call it. That is where during the autocross and endurance is the start-finish, and also the driver change area for those familiar. That is now the only entry point to the dynamic area. And we only use the infield during the autocross and endurance, and I think we have to go back all the way to 2011 or 2012. That was the last time we had that.
I think it was 2011. That was actually the year I competed here as part of Oxford Brooks Racing. And I remember the layout fondly and the failure we had during endurance on the infield. But meanwhile, car from Lausanne making their way around the track.
He's struggling with the cars. The big power slide there. That's the first. Thank you for that, Lausanne.
It was sideways across the finish line.
Didn't hit the cone, which is
that was 100% the most exciting run we've seen so far today. The driver was sawing at the wheel the whole time, managed to keep it between the cones.
He's not coming back either.
I think they had their first run earlier, which would maybe explain why they're not going for their second run immediately.
I see someone walking here. We might interview him later on. It is Stig Mebjerg, and I don't know if I pronounce his Danish last name right, but he will be the boss, so to say, of the dynamic events tomorrow and on Saturday for the autocross and the endurance. So race director sitting up with us in the tent.
Yeah, he'll be counting all the cones tomorrow, decide on tomorrow and Saturday, deciding on penalties.
Flags.
So if you see him in the paddock or pit lane over the next 2 days, just be nice to him.
Experienced guy as well. He has been here for as long as I can remember, at least.
Same here, yeah. I can't remember a Formula student in Germany without Stig.
Hashtag Bisschen kaputt. Let me check the commentary form. What's that about? It's Bayreuth for their first run. The hashtag Bisschen kaputt is to reflect 3 components of their team that are broken: the car, the tools, and the team members. That's probably not good, but they did quite well, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a good first run.
Oh, this is also a nice one. Their car number is car number 29, and that has a reason, because in 2010, so in 2010, their driver in autocross achieved to knock out 29 cones. So ever since they have been trying to get the number 29 to remind probably the driver of that fact.
That is a significant amount of cones on one autocross lap.
For the whole of endurance, I would say, okay, that's about 1 or 2 per lap. That can happen, but for autocross, that's half the track.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody on the live stream can look up the autocross of 2010 and post it in the link somewhere. We don't have time for that here on site, but quite curious to see that one.
So the second run for Bayreuth was marginally slower on average than the first run. Leaves them with the fastest average time of 5.43 seconds, and that slots them into 3rd place so far this morning. And really the only car in the top 8 to set their fastest time on their first run. All of the other cars improved their times on their second run.
The Bayreuth team, one of the teams being having filled in the commentating form, they have listed all their driver names but not their SkidPad drivers, so I assume that the acceleration and SkidPad drivers might be the same. That would mean that this SkidPad driver was probably David Förster. The second driver for acceleration and maybe also for SkidPad is Amélie. And her nickname is called Lamelie because she's responsible for the laminating process. So that's a good one.
And the car from Dresden now receiving some final instruction. They must have been fine-tuning their setup when we saw them go to the test area earlier.
Or scrubbing their white wall tires.
Yeah, I think this is a car Macklemore would be proud of.
They have been doing that white walling for years and years now, haven't they?
They have, yeah. It looks really cool. Although a small bit of critique, they could touch up the white walls a little bit. Looking a little bit scruffy at the moment.
That is a good sign. That means the tires were used or maybe stacked on top of each other in storage for too long. I don't know.
Just need a little bit of Tipex to bring them back looking brand new.
There is one advantage to this weather, Austin, and that is that our iPads are not constantly overheating as usual.
Yeah, and we're not overheating as usual either. So yeah, I'll take this weather for now.
But we still function somewhat, as far as if we function at all.
As long as we're given a constant supply of water and ice cream, we still function when it's so hot.
And chocolade.
Chocolade?
Chocolade.
Chocolade?
Chocolade!
We should probably stop now before we get done for copyright infringement stuff.
Well, I don't think that particular song has any copyright on it, does it?
What have I done?
Anyone now viewing the live stream and thinking, what the hell is chocolade about? Someone from alumni team, please explain it to the viewers who are new. It's a Formula Student thing, like flunky ball. That's also a Formula Student thing, right? Do they still do that, you think?
Well, they were certainly doing it in 2019. I know it's a bit difficult this year with the situation, but I'd imagine the flunky ball culture is still going strong. Whether the teams are actively playing one another, I don't know, due to regulations, but hopefully internally they'll keep their flunky ball training camps going. And we'll be back soon and back to flunky ball in the campground as soon as it's all makes sense to do so.
Yeah.
So due to COVID regulations, the event has scaled down a bit compared to usual, not only for team members and spectators, but also of course for the visitors and sponsors and officials. It's significantly less crowded here. I think 40 electric teams, 20 combustion teams, and also 20 driverless, more or less.
That sounds about right, I think.
Not quite sure about the driverless number, but the other two are right. And in addition to that, no grandstands either, but also no overseas teams. No Americans, no Indian teams, no Chinese teams, no UK teams.
No, I think everybody's based on the continent here at the moment. And Dresden look very quick on their right-hand loops. I think they've got a good combination of being quick, steady on the throttle, close to the inside line.
Right-hand turn was a 5.0, left-hand turn a 5.0 as well, so their average is a 5.064, which makes them the fastest of the day so far, so faster than the green team.
Was a very impressive run. The car was just glued to the inner circle of cones. Obviously, if you can stick to the inner circle of cones, you drive a smaller distance. So you can, in theory, do it a bit quicker, assuming you can go the same speed. Driver electing to take the car's second run immediately. If I had to guess, I'd say the car's name is Lizzie, based on the writing on the rear wing.
What did we have in the past? We had Emily at some point, right? I think that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, we've had a few names, all obviously starting in E.
But team members from Dresden. Tomorrow at around 8 o'clock, you did not fill in the commentary form yet, so please do. Or if you're watching a live stream from the Dresden team, remind your team to do so. And then tomorrow, during the autocross and Saturday during endurance, we can be a bit more specific. Is it?
I can say I've never experienced the uplink being down before. Do you reckon that this happens in Australia too? Is the uplink nominally the downlink?
There's the other way around.
So
and we can make fun of them because they're not here anyways. They're overseas teams. So.
Yeah, so their downlink is up.
And do you think there are kangaroos in Australia?
I don't know, are there?
I'm quite sure there are no kangaroos in Austria.
Are you sure? It's unfortunate that TU Graz isn't here, otherwise we could ask them.
The other Graz is here, the Neon car. They won the Netherlands event as well, I think.
Well, it looks like the uplink is back up.
So does it make it now an uplink again?
I think so. Yeah, it's been upgraded from the downlink to the uplink. Still not sure about the second time for Dresden. We will let you know as soon as we find out more.
And we have the time for the Dresden car, which was a 4.968 on average. So the first car to go below the 5-second mark. Helpful race from Dresden.
Got car 101 from DHPW Mannheim. I believe the driver is strapped in. Meanwhile, car 29 from Bayreuth has reapproached the skid pad. I think the second driver is in the car.
This might be Lemmerly.
I think you're right, Steph.
Let's hope all the carbon fiber will hold up in the skid pad.
Yeah, I mean, especially being the driver, you think you'd put some extra care into the lamination, the build-up of the composite structures in the car. See, some teams have been having issues with chassis delamination in the pits yesterday. Not sure they've made any progress in resolving those issues, but
it didn't look too well, to be honest. It was a big patch of delamination on the chassis for the Munich car. That's what you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is a possibility of repairing it, but I don't think it will be easy. Meanwhile, car from Mannheim takes the green flag. Driver with big correction at the start of the timed right-hand lap. Slows down in the transition on the left-hand lap. Left-hand lap much smoother across the line.
Cure Mannheim car 101 is, according to the design spec sheet, a two-wheel driven car. So let's see if we can see that as well. Yeah, we can definitely see the drive axles on the rear car, so it's the motors are inside the chassis, connected to the rear wheels with a drive axle. That's one of the setups we see at Austin for the electric cars. We also see the four in-wheel motors. Let me see, the Cure Mannheim has 68 kilogram for each motor, so that implies that they have two motors, one per wheel. We have seen in the past also one big electromotor driven with a chain and a differential, like a standard combustion setup.
Yeah, there are various sorts of powertrain concepts teams have gone with over the years. I think in general the four-wheel drive concept seems to be the highest performing for, well, some obvious reasons, I guess, but
and the most difficult to get working, because especially because of the packaging within the wheels. So the transmission ratio, and together with the motor selection, getting everything mechanically working there, that's a huge challenge for the teams.
Yeah, especially with the desire to constantly reduce the size of the drive wheels. It can be a real nightmare trying to get everything into the space that's made available. We've actually now got a bit of a queue forming the entrance to the SkidPad. We've got 2 cars here for their first run, and then 2 cars looking to make their second runs. As we mentioned, we've got the car from Bayreuth, car 29, and the car from Lisbon, car number 50. Yeah, car number 50, ready to make their runs with the second driver. And we've got car 842 from TU Darmstadt and car 21 from KIT waiting to make their first runs.
This is going super fast, steady state as well. She's really controlling the car. I must say this looks very fast to me. Let's see what the time does. It's a 5.349, so that's a good time. It's an improvement for them. It's their fastest time of the day. They have 1 run left, and she likes to do that right away. And especially the last left-hand turn was a 5.2, so I think there might be 0.2 of a second to gain there, which would make them go close to the 5-second mark. It's good to see really hanging to one side with the helmet.
Yeah,
leaning into the corner.
Really
there.
leaning into the corners, yeah. Which I can imagine isn't particularly easy. You must be quite strong to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it's a good time as well. It's a 5.187, so good improvement for them. They are also, I think, also the first team to complete all 4 runs.
So we've now got car 842 from TU Darmstadt approaching the start line. Now this car is quite interesting. It's one of 2 cars here this year that are set up to run in both electric and driverless in the same event. So there is a driver, this is the drivered event, but you will see there are some driver assist or automated driving features on the car, some LiDAR sensors, some cameras. So yeah,
they're quite busy today because they have to do driverless acceleration, driven SkidPad in the morning, and then in the afternoon they have to do the driven acceleration and the driverless SkidPad. So in terms of logistics, they have a busy day today.
I'd say so, yeah. Do you think the drivers have a rivalry with the AI, or how do you think that works?
I don't know.
Or I wonder if they can take any learning from the drivered run and apply it to the AI run, or if that's not allowed.
That's what I was thinking of, and I don't think that's allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. You think? I'm not 100% on the rules here, but it should be separate events, right?
You would think so, yeah. You would think you wouldn't be able to transfer anything over, otherwise it sort of defeats the purpose of having a driverless car if you need a driver to get it working properly. We can see car 21 from KIT approaching, and this car is very tall, I think is one way to put it.
It is tall, and it reminds me a bit of the older ETS Montreal cars. They have the same kind of chassis, quite high up way over the shoulders of the driver, and really enclosed. So apparently they did make the emergency, what do you call it again? 5 seconds?
The egress.
Thank you.
Driver egress, yeah.
But it's not the easiest car with the egress, but as long as we're within the 5 seconds, you're okay.
It reminds me a lot as well of throwing it way back to some of the cars from RMIT from Australia.
You are right. You are right.
Back in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, really that kind of single cylinder car concept. RMIT 2006-7, I guess. And also ETS, they did that for quite a long time. I think they still do it. on track now. I think it's the third run, sorry, for the Lisbon team, or maybe it's the second run, because I can remember the first run was quite bumpy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember if the first driver took both runs or not. Either way, this one looks really good. Without looking at times, I wager that was quite an improvement for them.
Yeah, this was their second run, so we were right on that.
Yeah.
And they did improve their previous time. Current time is a 5.3. 5.35, I must say.
The car from Karlsruhe also has some very large...
And that is a 0.6 improvement, so it was a good call not to go for the second run immediately.
Yeah, I'd say so. I was about to say the car from Karlsruhe has some very large vertical spats in the middle of its front wing. Not sure if the whole high sides, high spats is part of their aero concept.
I think it might be. We see that some of the cars do change their appearance for aero reasons. For instance, the Delft car, which we saw yesterday, we told to each other, okay, this is not a Delft car. It's way too big. It looks like, what does it look like?
I don't know. It just had wings everywhere you could possibly put a wing.
And it was long.
Yeah, it was bigger than the traditional Delft cars.
Usually it's a small compact car, but they sacrificed a lot of that for the aerodynamics on the car. I hope it will work out for them.
Based on the message on the rear wing of Karlsruhe's car, I presume everything is done in the name of aero. My German isn't very good, but I'm pretty sure the sticker says something along the lines of this sticker costs us 0.1 coefficient of lift.
Exactly. I have to compliment you, Austin. Your German is getting better and better each year.
To be fair, Jonas, our new commentator, helped me out with this one yesterday, so I cheated a little bit.
Also, I know the Karlsruhe team is a big team with a lot of viewers. Remind your team to fill out the commentary form. We did not have that in this morning. We will check again during lunch. But please do for all of the 2 and maybe 3 cars, because usually they bring 3. Please fill out the commentating form. Because usually Karlsruhe does have stories, that's for sure. Also one of the local teams that usually bring a lot of people. I think it's 1 hour drive to Karlsruhe from here. So definitely, maybe even half an hour, so definitely one of the closest teams around, together with Mannheim, of course. This looks fast, doesn't it? Do you have the times with you?
Got the time for their first run is 5.1 seconds. I don't have the time for the second run. Oh, it's even faster. It's 5.03. I haven't quite broken the 5-second mark, but not far off at all from Karlsruhe.
They did on their last lap. Their last left-hander was a 4.969. So there they broke the 5-second mark. But let's see if their second driver can do it for both ways round. So also we got some design results in Austin. So thank you commentator from home Thijs for the screenshot. So for the electric competition, the top 5, which are only to be disclosed I guess at the end at the award ceremony, are Karlsruhe, Athens, Stuttgart, München and Zurich. And then the 6th car is Delft, Mannheim, they're tied 6th. Aachen 8th, Dresden 9th, and that surprises me a bit because it's a nice car.
Hey Steph, we're on TV.
Hi Mom.
I guess well, there's a break in the action.
I hope the director chose to have the other camera.
I haven't done my makeup this morning, I don't know about you.
No. We did bring our hats, didn't we?
Yeah, covers the hat hair.
But to comment on this, the Dresden car and also Trondheim, they were 9th and 10th. And those cars are looking quite good, don't they?
Yeah, I think we've seen some competitive times so far today.
Yeah, so that indicates that not only the quality of your car is important for design event, but also the knowledge of the team members, and maybe they have some design carryover or some legacy components, maybe some penalties even that can happen as well.
Yeah,
if I look at the cars, I would estimate them being top 5, don't you?
Yeah, I think you've got to look at how much carryover there is, how much breadth of knowledge. Of course, this year is a bit different. All of the static events happened prior to the competition online, so maybe the teams had difficulty adjusting to the new format as well. But that being said, the playing field is level for everyone, so no excuses.
And maybe our cameraman can do a quick round through the area, just to show the difference this year in terms of spectators compared to other years. Because if we rotate a bit, and I don't know if his cable can do that, it's all empty out here. You can go there or not? We can do a quick round. You can see no grandstand in the infield. So that's a big difference. Thank you.
Anything to get the camera off us, Steph.
Yeah, that worked. Oh, he's back again.
Oh, he's back.
I guess now. Shall we get our sunglasses?
Yeah.
Because I think we need to.
I think now might be a good time to sort of introduce ourselves and give some background behind who we are and what we do and why we're here. I guess I can go first. I'm Austin Browser. I've been commentating here at Formula Student Germany for the past 5 years, I guess since 2015. I was involved with Formula Student at a few schools. Grew up in the United States. Did my degree in mechanical engineering at Columbia University, competed in Michigan 3 of those years. At Columbia, our goal was always just to get a car finished, get it to competition and run. We were very limited being in New York City in terms of where we could test. We had a tiny little parking garage we could just about do a donut in. After
with or without columns in the parking garage, Austin?
There were quite a few columns. But yeah,
was it called Columbia for that reason?
Columbia. It could have been. But I came over, did a master's degree in motorsport engineering at Oxford Brookes. Took part in the team with Oxford Brookes in 2011. Competed in the US, UK, and Germany that year. While I was here well, actually it was in the UK, I met legendary Eric Schmidt. And through Eric, I met some of the organization of Formula Student Germany, and they contacted me to ask to help commentate, and I've been here ever since. They can't get rid of me. How about you, Steph?
That goes for me as well. I've been part of the Delft team between 2007 and 2010, more or less. The last of the Delft combustion cars back then, small lightweight cars, always struggling with reliability. When driving, we were really fast, but when we were driving, that's it goes for most cars here, by the way. After that, being part of the Verein, or the alumni organization of the Delft team, and rolled into Formula Student commentating, like you, I think in 2015. So I've been doing that now for five years. And also commenting in the Italy event. We done Austria once, Mickey and me, and also FS Netherlands this year for the first time, which was also great to see that event getting more and more professional every year. We have been visitors for the last times, but this year first time as a commentator. We're traveling like yourself for Formula Student throughout Europe. And, yeah, having seen a lot, I guess. I mean, most of the things we will see this weekend will not happen for the first time, and I hope that our experience in seeing failures, errors, driver errors, design highlights will help a bit in creating some context for the live stream viewers.
Yeah, I think it's having been here and competed, and now having been here volunteering for the past 5 years, you can sort of get a feel for how things are going. You know, if a car starts driving slowly halfway through the endurance, you really can notice. So hopefully we can give some insight. And
I have to say, both of us build combustion cars. So for the combustion cars, for us it's quite easy. You can smell, you can see, you can hear what's happening with the car. Always for the electric cars, it's a bit more difficult for us, right? I mean, it works or it doesn't, and sometimes there there is some indication, but most of the time you don't exactly know what happens. So that's why tomorrow and the day after we will have a link with the marshals as well, so a direct link with the scrutineers. So if there's a DNF, it will go around the scrutineering channel and we can comment on that. Usually first we say it's the software, and after that we correct ourselves, and whether it's tripped IMD or brake plausibility check or whatever.
But it's always easy to blame the software first.
Software is reason one most of the time. So after this interlude, we have the Karlsruhe UAS, car 399. I kept my microphone open so you could hear it. On the rear wing it says "Crank fast, die young."
That doesn't bode very well for endurance, does it?
This looks good. It's composed. The driver does not need to make a lot of steering corrections.
Or a lot of throttle corrections really either. The car from Karlsruhe immediately circling around to take the green flag for their second SkidPad run. This car has quite a nice piece of artwork on the right-hand side pod. I think it's my favorite artwork I've seen.
You mean the cat line art?
Yeah, the cat line art with the tail being the exhaust pipe.
They're actually 2 doors away from the cat racing team, who are very close to them in the pits. We asked the cat team, okay, there's another cat team in the house, but they were okay with it. And this team also had all the stickers of all the other teams, right, in the inner side of their rear wing.
Yeah, it just shows the camaraderie that teams still have in the garage, helping each other out. Oh, and this car sounds amazing as it takes off.
And they always do. I can remember this Polish team from Wrocław. They have one of the best sounding cars for years and years now. Wow, this sounds good. I was looking up which engine they use, but it says in my design spec sheet a KTM single cylinder, which it definitely isn't. So I have to refresh it, I guess. And they have never driven a single cylinder as far as I know. I think it should be the Honda CBR. Wow, this is a great time from them. Cheers all around here. And it's a 4.970 for them. That makes them by far the fastest combustion time of the day.
And they've got to be very close to equaling the fastest electric time of the day too, within 100th of a second or so.
2 milliseconds.
Ooh.
2 milliseconds away from the time from Dresden.
This one's for you, Thijs.
Someone at home is very happy about the 2 milliseconds.
That being said, they did have the fastest right lap out of anybody.
It was a 4.9 flat, 4.905. And actually in the difference that we have here in the commentary dashboard, it's only 1 millisecond difference, so probably timekeeping has more even than milliseconds.
Whoa!
So it's less than...
And Schweinfu spins out across the finish line. They did finish the run. It looks like they've only hit 1 cone, but I think they will get an off track.
Now they will.
In order to correct.
Wow.
That was exciting.
It was exciting.
And that, yeah, the driver just put on the burst of the throttle to try and gain a few of those precious milliseconds across the line, and wasn't able to control it in time and just spun around. think that hasn't deterred them. They look like they're going to come around for the second run. And as that happened, the team walked in front of us, and they've got like one of the fanciest push bars I've ever seen.
The fanciest push bar I've ever seen. It's a truss structure. And in the back we can see car 467, the driverless car, practicing as well.
I think they may be practicing for driverless acceleration.
Oh, and good news for the fans of TU Munich and TU Delft. I was just informed that the TU Munich too fast car has passed scrutineering as well by Jet. Is that right, Jet? By multiple. No, but you were here. You were standing here and you said it. So they're through. They're through. Confirmed here. And also the Delft team, I just got a WhatsApp that they're through as well. So that's good for them. Well, we see Schweinfu, car 97, driving their second SkidPad. Hopefully a bit more cautious this time, not to overdo it on their way out. It's getting a bit more busy now in the queue here. So the first queue is car 229, Rennteam Stuttgart. Then we have car 313, that's the Combustion, I guess, car from TU Berlin. And after that, can't see it. Well, in the second driver queue we have Lisbon. We also have car E63 now in the first driver queue. So Stuttgart, you can hear now, is firing up. And they're ready to go. After Stuttgart it will be Berlin. After Berlin it will be UAS Ostfalia, car number 35. And after that we have car E63 from Trondheim, all in the first driver queue. In the second driver queue we have Lisbon, car 50, and also approaching that queue now the car from École Centrale de Lyon from France. While we take a close look, Austin, at the Rennteam Stuttgart car.
Yeah, it's been a smooth start. I was just talking with Jet about the repairs that TU Munich had made. And Rennteam Stuttgart slides across the line, showing the driver from Schweinfu how it's meant to be done. Keeping it in a straight line and not hitting any cones.
It was a 5.519, and that had to do mainly because of the right-hand turn. The left-hand turn, the fastest one, was a 5.378. So definitely 2/10 or 3/10 to be found. And I think it also was quite conservative driving. So hopefully they can keep it a bit closer to the cones now.
And this car, whilst it's running, also sounds quite good. Driver did stall, but got it restarted again. That's not a problem at all, really.
It has quite a particular whiz to it, the car.
Yeah.
I first thought it was active aero or something, but I don't think it is the case. But it did make the sound when they stalled just now as well.
Driver from Stuttgart finishes as the car from TU Berlin approaches the start line. Do you want to go find out more about the ominous fan noise from Stuttgart, Steph?
Yeah, I'm walking to the Stuttgart team.
And TU Berlin circumnavigates the SkidPad with the clear bodywork. You can see that the driver is in fact wearing trousers. TU Berlin finishes their first run of the SkidPad.
So I'm actually approaching the Renteam Stuttgart guys right now. That whiz that we heard was active aero. Maybe you can comment on what am I looking at?
Yeah, hi. We have some active power ground devices at the back of our diffuser integrated into geometry. Yeah, at both sides, left and right.
Good. Well done, guys. Good luck.
And TU Berlin making their way around for the second run. Another clean run from them. Looks fairly quick. We'll have to wait for the times to pop up. Meanwhile, the car from Lisbon is now back on track. And
I was with the Renteam guys, but Berlin TU, a 4.89, Austin. Did it look fast as well?
It did look fast. I didn't think it was that fast, but wow, a great time from them.
And look at their first lap as well. It was already a 5.09. So already their first lap was the fastest. No, the second fastest combustion time. But they're really flying out there.
Yeah, that's the issue with SkidPad, is sometimes the fastest runs look fairly uneventful and you can't really tell until you look at the clock, because the driver is so steady, so close to the inside. It doesn't really look exciting, but it's very quick.
So the Lisbon team now shouting that there's a cone stuck in the left rear. There we go.
Cone retrieved.
So now they can go. I think that's their last run of the day. The first run of the second driver was not an improvement to their fastest time so far. So last run of the day, they are looking to improve their 5.35. I think they might. It's a 5.49, so they didn't, but it was clean. Next up, UAS Ostfalia. Quite distinct livery, isn't it, Austin? We can remember this car. That's good.
Yeah, it's got a series of red and white triangles making up the majority of the livery on the carbon fiber. Driver is staying very steady, keeping to the inside of the cones. And as I say that, they've gotten a bit too close to the cones. They've knocked one cone out of its box. It'll be a 0.2 second penalty. Just pushing the inside diameter of the skid pad a little too much. And it's actually looks like they knocked 3 cones out of position on that run. The first 3 cones pretty much going around the left-hand loop. Looked like it took the transition a little bit too shallow.
So UAS Ostfalia, Wolfenbüt UAS Ostfalia, they are here for the 6th time. And in the past races here at Germany, at FSG, they have only been able to complete 1 endurance so far. So I hope this year they can improve that statistic. Their best ever results here in Germany was 6th, probably the year that they finished the endurance. Which is very good for them. They won the acceleration event in Italy 2015 and the efficiency event last year here in Germany.
Yeah, it sounds like they've had some success recently then.
Yes, I had to look in my cheat sheet for that, but luckily we have it.
The second run for that car is much cleaner than the first run, so even if the time doesn't show, it will be a better run for them. Here's the car from Lyon again. This will be the second driver now. In contrast to the car from Karlsruhe, this car is extremely open. You can pretty much see down to the driver's waist.
I think it is more comfortable to drive. You can get your elbows out. That really helps with getting force into the steering wheel. I don't think if you're that tight, you cannot really move your elbows around. So I don't know if that's really nice.
Yeah, I think it probably takes a bit more strength if you can't move your upper body. But Leon not having that problem. They're, like you said, elbows out racing.
Those rear tires are warm now. Taking off with a fair amount of wheel spin. Driver is really pushing now. They are correcting. But they are minor corrections, so looks quite good. Wow, small power slide there. It's 5.734, so that's an improvement for them. And I think this might have been their last run. Yeah, it was. So they're done for the morning. And yes, Austin, they are arguably one of the top French teams here in Germany.
Yes, arguably.
Up next, you can hear the beep in a second or two. Instructed to turn it on. No beep, but we see a light. That's strange.
Oh, we can hear the beep now.
We have the beep.
This is from
Trondheim.
Trondheim are arguably one of the top Norwegian teams here.
Oh, they instructed us to say something. Something in Norwegian, that the front wing hits the ground every single time. Dabita or something like that. Dabita? No? Dabita? The beat? Yeah? What was it? Yeah? Good? Good luck?
Fortunately, the front wing not hitting anything yet. You hear something clicking as the car as it goes around. I don't know if you caught that, Steph. If not, maybe we can hear it if they come around for the second run right away. Oh, there's the bit. The front wing bottoms out.
This will be fun for autocross and endurance. They will hit the ground all the time. Maybe someone on the live stream can explain to us what that clicking sound. It also does it to the right-handers.
Sounds sort of like when you're on a train when it goes over the joints on the rails.
It does get a bit louder in the left-hand turn, so probably it's on the right side of the car.
You can see some like coolant hose or something flapping around in the right rear. Maybe it's that hitting something else.
It does sound a bit more rattly. It sounds a bit more like a gearbox thing.
Yeah,
maybe some
differential or
something
something like that. I mean, not that there's a differential.
It doesn't sound like a cooling hose. It's a bit louder than that.
Yeah.
Next up is the combustion car from the Ruhr-Uni Bochum, car number 248. After that, in front of the queue, we have ETH Zurich, car number 33. TU Valencia, the Swiss car from, I thought it was Lausanne again, and also Sankt Augustin. This is one of the longer cars as well, right? So if you can see the dimensions of the car in front of the driver.
Yeah, it's quite a horizontal nose, so quite a few of the cars, the nose slopes down towards the front wing. This is much more horizontal, sort of like a late 90s Formula One car, I'll say.
Yeah, and what we were saying earlier, we saw that at the Delft car as well, and it might be to guide the airflow over the car. into. It's quite high up on the front as well, so that means it can push the air under the car into the diffuser a bit more.
And similar to ETH Zurich, who looks like they're lining up next as well. Although Zurich is looking a little bit less extreme than they have on that front over the past few years.
Zurich did have their fair share of problems earlier this year. Wow, this is active aero as well. You can hear the whiz.
Yeah, it sounds almost like a jet engine or something.
In earlier days, they used to call it accumulator cooling, but now it's definitely active aero. They have had their fair share of struggles this year. Had a lot of issues. I think it was their inverter or the motor controller in former student Netherlands. But in East they won and drove quite fast, as I've been told.
Whoa, and the driver goes way off course, transitioning from the right hand to the left hand.
They were going for the timekeeping equipment.
Yeah,
again.
he fortunately swerved at the last minute. I don't think it was a particularly fast run to begin with.
No, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. I don't know what it is with Zurich and timekeeping equipment.
Yeah, they must have heard us earlier. Not sure if he's quite going to make the turn. I think he'll be fine.
Usually we complain about the lack of sound in electric cars compared to combustion cars, but that's not the case for this car, is it?
No, there's all sorts of things making noise on this car.
But I think it are intended noises, so nothing to worry about viewers at home.
Let's see if they can pick up the pace though this second run. At least try to get a time on the board anyways. They've made the transition this time anyways, still not looking particularly quick. Picking up the pace now in the left-hand loop and across the line.
Let me take a look at the times. I also understand from people at home that you have a nice overlay in the live stream for all the times, so probably you know it a bit sooner than us. It's 5.68. Not particularly fast, to be honest, for the Zurich team. They will be looking to go into the low fives and should be looking for the high fours normally. Sankt Augustin, second driver, first run.
Well, and driver immediately with some understeer on the first lap.
That was a huge understeer.
Takes out a cone, takes out a second cone on the start of the timed lap on the right-hand run.
The SkidPad where he did that is also a bit off bank.
You see?
So, but it was a huge understeer and it wasn't going that fast yet.
No, he was going really slow. It's almost like the steering broke or something, but it's obviously not. It was just the car just went straight.
Yeah. I think the SkidPad, maybe they did that intentionally, because usually the SkidPad is a bit more towards where normally the Volkswagen stand is for the people who know the area. And now we are more closer to the where normally the horseshoe and the jump turns are in the endurance track. And it's definitely a bit of a bump here, so it's not completely flat. You can clearly see that.
Yeah, and on both the right hand and the left hand loops, about 3/4 of the way through the loop, there's a bit of a drop off. The camber of the corner changes substantially. Let's see if the driver encounters any similar issues on this second run. I think at the minute, officials just waiting for one of the driverless cars to make a test run.
Yeah, so we are actually quite close to the driverless test area.
And it's been...
yeah, they had to clear that.
No cones so far for the driver from St. Augustin. But it looks like this driver is really struggling for grip.
I can't seem to recall the first driver struggling that much, but I think it was a bit more conservative as well.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like this driver just is driving on ice, really.
And both runs were not faster either, so I think the hashtag neckbreaker car from Valencia going for that first run. But on the Sankt Augustin car, they were considerably slower, 0.3 of a second. I think they might have done some setup changes, which didn't pan out as they expected.
I would agree with you. See the car from Valencia going around the skid pad. You can still see remnants of the stickers from the brand new tires on the car as it goes around the skid pad. I think it looked like a reasonably quick time for them.
They were the winners in the Spain event. I think it was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very recent, so on good form.
And also Valencia was second in Austria, so they are having a great season. And winning in your home event, winning in Spain, being a Spanish team. The first run was a 5.47, sorry. And I think the second one will be 10ths faster-ish, 5.43, so 400 faster.
Here's the team from Switzerland, Lausanne. They've got quite an impressive diffuser.
Yeah, they have.
Not sure it has enough strakes though.
And I think Lausanne is in the French area of Switzerland. So on the back they have the hashtag départ. So that's sort of let's go, if my French is on par here. I once had the privilege to watch a full Italian winning podium in FS Italy. It was, I think, 2 years ago. So in all classes, an Italian team won. That was bizarre.
I can imagine that's spectacular. I know that the Italians are particularly passionate about their national anthem,
which they chanted quite loudly. Do you think this car has active aero, Austin?
I'm thinking there might be some active aero on this car.
I don't know if you can hear us on the live stream, but
I can't even hear the combustion engine. I'm not exaggerating.
What are you saying?
What?
Huh? Wow.
It looks like it sucked up a few cones along the way, though. Wow.
Okay.
Does that have to be on during the noise test?
Well, I don't think so, because they would have not passed, I think.
Oh, it was so loud.
Wow. That's impressive.
Meanwhile, the car from Lausanne, very much quieter.
They're quite nimble, the Lausanne car. Let's see what the times do. Rennstad Esslingen was a 5.2, so it was quite fast in their first run. Lausanne now in a 5.36, improving their best time so far. And there we go again.
Let's see if they can have a clean run this time.
Is it me, or can I actually feel the wind here?
I know what you mean. They're certainly removing any debris from the skid pad for future teams as well. It was a clean run for Esslingen.
Now I know why the Esslingen team is one of the official favorite teams here around. It's probably because of that huge fan on the car.
I wonder if anybody knew about that fan except for them before this skid pad.
Up next is 269. I don't need to read the school name. It must be HAWK Hamburg. Always driving with the 69 number.
It is Hamburg indeed, and they've stopped so that we can easily read the side of the car. Doesn't look planned. Nothing's locked up or visibly broken, but I'd say it's probably the software stuff.
It's not an electric car, so it's not the software this time. That's only with electric cars. But we talked to them yesterday, right? And they were working in the pits, let's say. I don't know how big the issues were, but yeah, unfortunate for them.
So I was just talking with one of the scrutineers about the requirements for the noise test.
You mean the big guy?
The big guy, yeah.
Kevin.
So I suspect that there may be an additional noise test coming for some of these teams.
Actually, I think the Esslingen team has a mock-up of one of the guys in their pits who can't be here this year.
I think Kevin should be expecting a call from him at any second.
It sort of sounded like a jet engine, didn't it, the Esslingen car?
It did, yeah. It was, I mean, or like a street sweeper, or like a Hoover, vacuum, whatever you call them in this country.
Staubsauger.
That's a really exciting word.
Did you know that word? Because we have teach you in the past 5 years some German words, right?
Strabsauger, that's a good one.
You know Frühstück?
Frühstück, yeah, that's breakfast.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there's some good words. That sort of makes it sound exciting. Maybe when I get home I'll be tempted to do it.
Is a good one as well for you
to
know.
All right, yeah.
Especially since we have more and more active aerodynamics on cars. Huh?
And I think most importantly it's fun to say.
Try it again, please.
Straubsauger.
Now you're not even trying, Austin. Come on. Staubsauger.
Straubsauger.
No, it's without the R.
At the end, you mean? No R.
At the beginning. Staub.
Stauger.
Good enough. Let's leave it at that. We'll practice tonight with the Weizen. You know that word.
Yeah.
In the Biergarten.
Ein großer Bier.
Good. Okay. After the banter,
here's Kevin coming back.
UPC, but I don't have the monitoring. But after this banter, we have UAS Augsburg. But first we have, I think, Barcelona, UPC Barcelona, car number 54, which looks very neat this year.
So
we hear a very loud "Vamos" from the crowd as well. Vamos! Venga!
We've just had some feedback from Kevin about the legality of the noise from the Esslingen car. There will be no additional sound tests. They're free to run that. We'll likely hear it in the autocross. But I highly suspect there will be a new rule in place for the event next year where they'll be able to take into account the noise generated by aerodynamic devices. Meanwhile, the car from Barcelona carrying some cones around with it. Looked like a pretty quick run, but he is carrying 2 cones, I believe, wedged nicely onto the left side pod.
They call their, the Barcelona team, they call their front wing low front wing, because the guy who did it is from Andorra, and there they add pronouns to some words. And on the rear wing it shows the skyline of Barcelona. And I tried to pronounce that as Spanish as I could.
That's better than my German, so I'm not gonna...
I worked for 2 years with all Spanish people, so...
Have some
caught up
practice
some
then.
things.
Yeah, I mean...
I know some swear words as well, but let's not do that.
There are some recognizable buildings from Barcelona. You can see the cathedral on the very left-hand side of the rear wing.
Their goal this year is to finish all the dynamic events. So far they're doing that.
Yeah, I'd say so far they've finished the SkidPad, so off to a good start. An emphatic finish to the last lap. You can hear a cheer.
And since they have had a big cheer, let's look at our timing for this, because it might have been a fast time. It's a 5 flat, so a 5.088. So indeed that is a fast time. And I think that puts them on a 3rd or 4th spot for the electrics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots, sorry. So that's good?
Yeah, well within the top 10. It's a good start to completing all the dynamic events.
And they want to give a shout out to Arus from Seville. I think that's another team. They help each other, they have barbecues, and also share knowledge and passion. And both teams, they have 2 cars, so they feel that they are bringing 4 cars in total together. So let's wait until one overtakes the other in the endurance. Let's see if they're as friendly then.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's like the 24 hours of Le Mans when Audi used to bring 4 cars, just with the hope that, you know, at least one of them would finish.
Here we have car 188 from Augsburg.
This is the car with the rude rear wing, if I remember correctly. And yes, it is indeed.
Augsburg was one of the teams that did not fill out yet the commentating form. So guys, please do that so that we in the afternoon or in the other days have something extra to talk about.
Yeah.
Da habe ich überhaupt gar kein Problem mit.
Do you know what Alter means? That's the German word on the rear wing. The English words I think you know.
Yeah, I know the English words for sure. To be fair, I just assume they spelled later incorrectly.
Now Alter is old one or something like that. Just
oh, like elder. Okay, yeah.
Next up, car number 321 firing their engine, UAS Stralsund. And at least once every event we should point out that this is the oldest German team.
It is the oldest German team, and quite a few of the staff of Formula Student Germany attended Stralsund. I think, unfortunately, due to the 8-member limit, Wilfred the Dolphin is unable to join us.
Oh, was that this team, the Dolphin?
Yeah.
Yes.
But shout out to Wilfred, watching from wherever you are.
That's not in recent history. That's a couple of years ago, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
You have some teams always bringing the same stuff. You know, you have the King's College with the top hats, the Brunel from London.
Yeah, you get the
2 guys with the top hats.
The Akron Zips with the muscle T-shirts and mustaches and short shorts.
I have to say the best thing ever we had on the car was the Modena car. Can you remember? They had the diddly ding, diddly dong on their wings.
Yeah, that was the year that Leicester City won the Premier League with Claudio Ranieri.
And Enrico Morizzona, you know, they had
the spaghetti
well.
western.
Spaghetti westerns, yeah. It's a shame they're not here this year. They were building great cars, actually. They were one of the top Italian teams back then, together with Milan, I think.
Yeah, arguably one of the top teams.
Arguably, yeah. So we have Baltic Racing completing their SkidPad in a 5.42, so it's a good improvement for them. After that we have the Leibniz Universität Hannover, car number 20. They have turned their low voltage system on. So for the viewers at home who are not so familiar with Formula Student, all the electric cars have of course a lot of safety features, which we will explain in a bit more detail I think tomorrow during the autocross. But for now, it suffices to say that there's a light on top of the main hoop, so the rollover hoop. If the light is green, the low voltage system is on, so the dashboard and all of the feeding power, the low voltage power. And as soon as it engages the high voltage tractive system, which can range, it's a couple of hundreds volts, then the red light goes on, and then we know it's actually on, and then it's also ready to go. Then it's charging, and as soon as it's done charging, it makes a beep, ready to drive sound, and then it's ready to go. So that's how you know whether a car is. Sometimes you can see on track that the light turns green again, so the car suddenly stops and the light turns green. That means that the car itself usually shuts off its electric power, its high voltage electric power, because of any number of reasons. It can be brake plausibility, it can be the IMD, so the insulation monitoring, something's wrong basically.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the driver just turning off the system if they're not happy.
That seldom happens. Usually it's the car itself, the safety systems on the car, which there are a lot actually. We heard yesterday in the scrutineering debrief that mechanical was okay for most cars, but electrical always is takes a long time to check all the safety systems on those cars.
Yeah, they can be quite complex. You've got to make sure that the contactors are able to open and isolate the high voltage in any number of scenarios. And with the color of all the lights, the driverless cars have some additional lights, which we'll explain more about this afternoon in the SkidPad, or if you tune in to the driverless acceleration right now. I'm sure that Steph and Jonas can give some more information.
Oh, sorry, I was reading up on a lot of WhatsApp thingies, because apparently the Delft team is coming as well, and then I get a lot of messages that they are going, so all the viewers at home from the Delft team, I can see them as well, so it's true, car number 85. But the car number 20, Austin, the Leibniz Universität Hannover, they take a while. There's a laptop involved as well. That's usually a bad sign.
Yeah, let me go over and see if I can assess what the laptop is doing. I'll be honest, I can't entirely see with any resolution what the laptop is showing. They don't seem to be panicking. I think it'll all be all right. Just
were they watching the YouTube live stream on the laptop?
I don't know. I couldn't see it. I couldn't get a good angle. They have like a screen protector. You've got to be looking directly onwards to see what's on the screen. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully, I hope to think we're at least entertaining them, maybe distracting them a little bit. And meanwhile, Delft, just behind, is receiving some final instructions as well. I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see Delft jump the queue and take the run before the car from Hanover. Yeah, the busiest person on the Hanover car is the guy with the laptop.
I think it's the software.
It could be the software, very likely. Or maybe they're just checking their design scores. I mean, doing some additional checks on the car from Delft, just making sure it's safe.
So the Leibniz car that we are waiting for, their acceleration and SkidPad drivers are Jonas. And there they say if it wasn't for the helmet, you would think the car is driverless. As you can't see Jonas from sideways because he's so slim. And then we also have Inke Ludersen, both drivers for the Hanover car. And I want to give a shout out to E-Motorsport Cologne, the team of US Cologne or Köln. And they are friends and kidnapped their mascot, now it becomes dodgy, OG McBun, for 6 months and got him some new clothes. Corona hit him hard and we want to show them how much we love them. There's the story.
That sounds scandalous to me, Steph.
And one of their two acceleration SkidPad driver, Inke, has 1 meter long hair, and that weighs in at 250 grams. And they know that because their head of suspension had some discussions with the driver to, well, probably to cut it off. And she had to prove that her hair wasn't as heavy as she thinks, as he thinks. Oh, and she agreed to cut her hair if they win the endurance.
All right, fair enough. I'm wondering how heavy he thought her hair was.
I can remember in the past we have had discussions about painting or applying stickers for the livery of the car, which was 1 to 2 kilos of paint. Long and huge discussions until deep in the night about something that probably doesn't win or lose a competition at all, but okay. Teams do that.
Yeah, when I competed with Oxford Brookes, we had an aluminium monocoque and we just left the aluminium, 1 because it looked cool and 2 because we didn't want to add any mass by painting it.
Did you guys have that bended sandwich construction? That bent aluminum sandwich?
Yeah, it was a bent aluminum sandwich.
How was it you? Okay, the Delft driver now being instructed, 2 turns right, 2 turns left, and we have seen in the morning that can be difficult, so let's see. After that we have car CTU Prague, also an electric car, and in the second driver queue lining up the ETH Zurich car for their second run, or their third and fourth run for their second driver. The car name from Leibniz, so the car we just saw driving, car number 20, is EH20. Do you know what the EH stands for, Austin?
I'm not even going to guess, Steph.
Electric horse.
Ah. Okay.
Prancing around at SkidPad.
I did watch a bit of the dressage during the Olympics recently, and I can see some similarities.
Are you the person who watches that? I'm also always curious who watches the horse games at the Olympics, but it's you.
It is me. I do enjoy a variety of the events. I just have no idea how you get a horse to dance like that. I do think they could spice it up with some like hip hop or something, but I know it's quite popular in Germany as well.
It's more of an art than a sport, I guess.
Yeah, you could say that. It's still fun to watch.
Okay, let's see how the Delft team manages to complete all the turns. First right-hander a bit conservative. Second one is a bit faster, I think. And as you commented on before, Austin, the less eventful it is, the faster it probably will be.
This is very eventful. The driver with quite a bit of oversteer coming around the left-hand bend, swings the tail wide, takes out a cone, finishes the run. But yeah, it was almost, looks like it's 2 cones actually. One's knocked out of the box, the one's completely out the way. A completely different behavior from the car going over a similar feature from what we saw earlier on the Sankt Augustin car.
Yeah, if I understand correctly, they have had some issues with the motor controllers as well. They were through scrutineering super fast. And then on the test track something happened with one of the motor controllers, so they're still doing quite well, I think. It does look quite fast, to be honest. So that's a 5.3, right-hander. Left-hander I think will be more or less the same, a bit faster maybe. It's a 5.35. Well done, guys. Up next, I think first Zurich, because they have switched on already. Zurich, we have seen them before. This will be their third run. Yep. One of those earlier runs, they had a DNF. And the other run was, well, I have to say, for the Zurich team, only a 5.68. They will definitely be looking for the low 5s.
Yeah, I think we could certainly expect them to improve on that here. And if not, maybe it's a bit of a changing of the guard in Formula Student Germany Electric.
I don't know. I mean, it's true. We have seen Zurich in their prime being very dominant. And we have seen them struggling this year, also last year a bit. That had to do with a lot of innovation they make on their car, self-developing a lot of stuff other teams buy or get sponsored. Once they get that working, however, Austin, and work properly, they might be unbeatable again.
That's very true. I just like to initiate the thought either way.
So I think it's the motors on this car making quite some noise. I don't think it's active aero, but it's quite a loud car again.
It is quite loud for an electric car. It almost sounds like something scraping on the ground.
Let me check. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the rattle in the motors. So we are now lying on the ground to see if anything hits.
I don't think anything is touching the ground. I think you're right. It's the backlash in the gearbox or the drive between the motors and the wheels somewhere. Also the characteristics of the specific architecture of the rotor can lead to noise issues on different types of electric machines. You were pointing something out, Steph?
Yeah, right in the center of the car, where directly under the driver, there is some minor thingy sticking out, but I don't think that makes that noise. Maybe some duct tape or so.
I could see the technical term thingy as well, but yeah, I would agree with you. It doesn't look like the source of noise. Meanwhile, Zurich is looking much quicker on this run. Oh, the car is slowed down substantially on the left-hand loop, but
that's the T-sol was still on, so the tractic system light was still red. So that means that the high voltage system was on.
The right-hand loop looked really fast, though, Steph. Do you have a time for the first half?
Yeah, it's a 4.9. It's a 4.9. So indeed, it was fast, Austin.
And I mean, this won't be awful because they stopped before the timing beam for the last lap, so it's not going to be as fast as they can go, but it could have been a lot worse.
The left-hander where they stalled was about 20 seconds, and that is the longest we have seen today.
Oh, that's unfortunate for them. I thought they stopped just before the timing beam, but I guess it was just after.
Yeah, and then their last run, so the 20 seconds was their untimed lap, but the last one, the timed lap, was still a 6.6, so not fast at all. So unfortunate for them. Let's see if they can do better this time. And I think for the overall standings, they need a low 5. They need a good.
Once again, lap. When the car shifts direction,
now
everything
brake
shuts
just
off.
Before the timing beacon, brake. Yes.
It's like a better strategy this time around.
Okay.
The
run is not
HP
wasted.
light.
Yeah, it's green, so
yeah.
He has to restart it.
Oh, no, thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Oh, that's unfortunate for them.
Not a great start for them. But I mean, I think they proved me wrong a little bit in that they were very quick when the car was going.
Yeah, so they managed to do in the previous lap the 4.9 was good, was fast, what you would expect as well. So their time overall so far is a 5.68. Okay, next car coming up. Padova, car 285. First Italian team, I think, we see today, don't we?
Yeah, I think it is the first Italian team. There's a few of them here this weekend.
On the rear wing it says Grazie Stefano, or Stefano, I don't know where the...
The hashtag reliable like an old F1 car on the back of the rear wing. Not sure how to interpret that. Bit of a wheel spin as the driver takes off. Steady start to the right-hand lap. Staying very close to the inside ring, not particularly fast. And the driver goes the completely wrong direction, takes about the same line as the first driver from Zurich took on the first run.
Oh, that's a copy of Zurich, indeed.
Not a great start. Fortunately, didn't hit any equipment or cones, but is very substantially off track.
Yeah. Tristan, one of the timekeeping guys, is standing here. He said, "No, not the timing equipment again." I saw you look, Tristan.
And I think the driver signaling not very positive, but not entirely sure what the driver is going to do.
Hey, about Padova, Austin, I was just looking at their past results. This is definitely one of the top contenders in the combustion class, because last year here they were 4th. Last year in Italy they were 2nd. 2018 5th in Italy, so this is a top 5 car, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully they can pick it up a little bit, get a time down for the SkidPad at least.
And good news for the followers from TU Fast München. They're here. They had, well, we might say huge issues due to some chassis problems yesterday. They fixed it. They got rescrutinized, as we commented on earlier, and they're here. So we are now looking to the Munich car to see how they fixed it. It was on the left side of the car.
Okay, yeah, I could see. It looks like they've bonded or screwed an aluminum panel on the outside of the chassis. Presumably they've got one on the inside of the chassis as well. 4 screws holding everything together. They haven't done any amendments to the left-hand side of the car either. Because yeah, we did see them have a left front failure yesterday, but it looks like that was fixed reasonably straightforward.
I cannot really see it from the outside. It was front left, right? Was it rear right? No.
Well, it was the front left suspension and the rear right chassis.
Ah, okay. Front left suspension, rear right chassis. Okay. 2 failures then. Probably one had to do with the other. Yeah, there's a big aluminum plate bolted onto it at the rear end. And I think the front end was fixed quite cleanly, so that was suspension only. Yeah, so front left suspension looks similar as front right.
I know they were really pushing the boundaries with the mass reduction on this car. Maybe pushed it a little bit too far, but still with the fix they've implemented, I'd imagine they're still quite light. They were just over 150 kilograms previously.
And the fix itself looks fairly straightforward, but what the difficult thing probably was to prove that it actually was good enough. So the fix itself, okay, but to prove that the chassis is still stiff and safe enough to drive, to provide a good compartment for the driver, that was the real challenge, I guess.
It's also a bit concerning that they've not implemented any preemptive repair on the left-hand side of the car. Presumably, the monocoque is quite symmetrical otherwise, especially with the direction of the autocross and endurance track, loading the left side of the car slightly more than the right-hand side of the car.
The UAS Ostfalia driver just was making some gestures. I don't know if he was happy or mad. Oh, I'm quite sure he was happy. Look at the time, it's a 4:09. Wow, that's a good time for them.
Hey Steph, look what car is in the driverless test area.
Oh, this is our favorite car of the past years, I think. It's the Roma 4-wheel driven combustion. What do you have more? Flex joints, active aero. Everything you... well, we have this all-star car theme, right, this year. Probably everything anyone can imagine is on that car.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at Wolfenbüt UAS Ostfalia again. It's even faster, 0.2 of a second on the right-hander. Now the left-hander, stay clean. Wow, it's a 4:9.32, best time for them. Improvement again of I think half a second-ish. And I also think it was their last lap of the day. So this is a great time for them.
I think anybody here in the crowd just heard his happy noise.
That was a typical team member happy noise screen thing.
Now let's see how the car from Munich goes.
He wasn't even looking at the car, the team member. He was just looking at the timing on his phone and suddenly was very happy.
The real test of the repair will be on the left-hand loop.
5 flat and the first right-hander. Going left now. A bit more conservative, maybe, but maybe just because we think we see that. It's a 5 flat as well, so a 5.05 for them, which is good. It's not what they were aiming for, I guess. I think they will be aiming for the low 5s, but for them, considering the failure they had yesterday, is a huge accomplishment. I'm quite sure that they're super happy with this first banker lap. And if they're not, they should be.
Yeah, I mean, considering where they were about 18 hours ago, I think they should be very happy with that lap. Once again, looking very quick. And the driver hasn't taken the timed left-hand lap.
No, he didn't.
He got a bit excited and left the track early.
The left-hander was a 4.856, so it was super fast. But.
And I can see the team members exhibiting the hand gesture of, why did you do that?
Actually, that left-hander that he did, 4. I think it might have been the fastest lap of the day. It's a 4.93. No, not yet, not yet. Fastest time of the day is still the combustion car from Fast Tube and the electric, so with a 4.8 flat in one loop, so an average of 4.89. And the fastest electric car on average was a 4.93 with the fastest left-hander, right-hander of a 4.8.
And yeah, either way, that run would be a DNF for Munich because they didn't finish the run. But it's a good indication of the pace that the car has.
Yeah, for sure. So the HBW Mannheim, Team Cure with a 5.6. This is not an improvement on their fastest time so far. The lap that they will now enter will be their fourth and final lap of the day. And they are looking to beat a 5.46. After that, we have UAS Kempten, car number 212, for their first run of the day. Whoa, that's a 180.
That was a bit too tight of a spin round. I know that's what the SkidPad is meant to test, but he's...
He didn't hit any cones.
No.
That's quite amazing with such a maneuver.
And some people on the live stream asking what happened to Team Munich yesterday. They had a failure during testing. They had a left front suspension failure and a right rear.
It was during the brake test, I guess.
Yeah, where the left rear chassis failure.
This is Heilbronn.
Yeah, they had some issues with the braking system yesterday. But not right now. That was a good power slide across the line.
Yeah, yesterday the Heilbronn car, there was some minor puff of smoke. They were red flagged on the test track, and we spoke to the team afterwards, and they thought it was a piece of the brake caliper, a rubber piece, a plastic piece. But they fixed it. It was a minor fix, so nothing to worry about. And I think they might be together with Mannheim, so Heilbronn is super close as well, 15-minute drive. So they must have a lot of people normally on the grandstands. Unfortunately, they can't be here. But I hope you all cheer in front of your screens at home. Last lap for them of the day. It's a 5.8. Left-hander is a bit faster. getting a bit more heat in the tires, and it's a 5.75. And fortunately for them, it is an improvement on their fastest time so far, so very well done. That's what we are all looking for, I think, to have an improvement as you go. So best time on your last lap, that's great. Well done. Up next, UAS Kempten, car number 212. In the queue after that we have Wrocław and the Rennteam Stuttgart. Esslingen is going to the test track. TU Athens coming up as well. And that's it for now. And probably Dresden is coming back because they just left the test track. Coming towards our position now, and usually you go first to the test track and then immediately come here with some residual heat in your tires, especially when there is no queue or a very small queue like now.
Car from Kempten circulating, car 212. Been fairly uneventful so far. Pretty steady throttle application. No major movements at the steering wheel. Finishes the lap, it'll be a time on the board.
So far, I think the best sounding combustion car.
Yeah, definitely Wrocław. Unfortunately, no points awarded for the best sounding.
Well, there are always fun awards, of course. Right-hander was a 5.2, left-hander was a 5.09. So the average is a 5.15 for them, which is a good time. It's a decent, solid time. It's no improvement for them. They have driven faster, of course, earlier today. They are currently in second for the combustion class, behind TU Berlin. And their time to beat, which they are looking for, is a 4.97. So they definitely want to dip below the 5s again. Whilst UAS Kempten is on their second run of the day. And they are looking to improve their first run just now, which was a 6.6, and they definitely will do that if they finish. And they do, and it's a 6 flat, 606. Very well done. 10% improvement.
Yeah, put it in those terms, sounds really good.
Okay, PWR Racing, can they nick it from TU Berlin for the fastest time in the combustion class so far? It's a 5 flat right-hander. Usually the left-handers are a bit faster because of some extra heat in the tire. It's a 5.1, it's a bit slower. That's unusual. It's a 5.06. So that's what we usually see, right, Austin? That the left-handers are marginally faster than the right-handers. Reason one is heat in the tires, and maybe also the driver is a bit more accommodated.
Yeah, and possibly can be affected a little bit by the track layout, but not significantly.
Let's keep our mics open for people at home. So what you hear now is Rennteam Stuttgart active aerodynamics.
You could actually see like dirt and debris being shot out the back of the diffuser.
Dirt and debris.
Yeehaw.
We have our cowboy hats on. And for those of you who will follow the Instagram feed, there's a small clip of us doing some strange things with some cowboy music as well. Okay, 5.45 for them. They are looking for their fastest time of their first driver, which was a 5.2. And to be honest, being one of the top combustion cars there, I wouldn't be surprised if they go into the 5.0, 5.1, 5.2s. So we can listen to the diffuser. What's the German word for vacuum again, Austin?
Stauser.
Good enough. It's good, but I don't think it will be an improvement for them. Let's find out. It is, marginally, it's a 5.38. And what you can see, Austin, on the renting car is that their right-handers are tenths of their left-handers. So it's 2-3 tenths of a second of their left-handers. So that to me is an indication that their left-right balance somehow, the corner weights might not be good there, right?
Yeah, something's not symmetrical.
Or their
very likely.
Differential thing, or
yeah, that difference is
something is not symmetrically as you would like to have.
Difference is much more than the sort of characteristics we were just speaking about would help you improve.
Or there were some driver errors which we didn't spot. That can be as well. I don't know if you can hear that, but that was the team from Rome making a cheer.
I think they were invoking some higher powers to assist their driverless car.
Yes. Unfortunately, as far as I understand it, software doesn't work by cheering extra.
I mean, it could be voice activated.
Could be.
A very specific voice activation.
Well, being an Italian team, you would expect it to be gesture activated, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, E25, NTU Athens. They did a 5.48 on their second run. And I think they have 2 runs left. Let me check. Yeah, they do have 2 runs left to get closer to the 5-second mark. Good run for them.
Now got Lizzie back from TU Dresden. It was very quick the first time around. And has taken out 2 cones on the first right-hand loop. So I think this run is a write-off for the car. Driver will get some experience, but that's about it from this.
You are right, their fastest time so far was really fast. It was a 4.96, so they are already below the 5-second mark.
So as they make their way around to the start once again, I've just looked at my watch and it's past 11:30, Steph. It means there's only less than an hour left in this event.
That's a fact. What another fact is that the fastest time overall in the SkidPad event is still a combustion car, which surprises me, to be honest, with a 4.89, the fast tube TU Berlin combustion car. Fastest electric car so far is a 4.9, and I'm quite sure that the Dresden team is looking to beat that, because they're very close. We have 3 teams being very close together, 4 teams actually. That's Wolfenbüt with a 4.93. NTNU Trondheim with a 4.94, then Dresden with a 4.96, and then PWR, which is a combustion car, so that doesn't count in this list.
That looked really quick. The driver was...
It was really quick. The last lap was just below the 5 seconds, but overall no improvement for them, with more or less a 5 flat.
This driver was literally driving over the edges of the cones. You can see them all move slightly, but stay in their box.
That's ideally how you want a SkidPad to be driven.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the line was perfect. In terms of the cone penalties, Steph, as long as the cones stay upright and part of the cone is in the box, there's no penalty, correct?
That is correct. And even if you hit it, and if it jumps in the air and lands back into its box position, it still doesn't count. And we have seen that.
Yeah, we have. It's spectacular and it does happen, but I think we've seen it once or twice.
Okay, HAWK Göttingen up next. Do you know what HAWK stands for? Because we have also a HAWK's Racing, but this is not them. This is HAWK Göttingen.
I don't know what HAWK stands for.
You want some more lesson German? It's die Hochschule.
I fear
Angewandte Wissenschaft und Kunst.
I was fearing it was a severely German phrase.
It's one of the most difficult ones to pronounce for me, that's for sure.
I will let you stick with pronouncing their full name. I'll just say HAWK. They have taken out a cone on the left-hand loop. Just one, tipped it over, and completed the run. So we've actually had a really good point from the live stream, Stefan. We've missed something quite obvious. The left-hand turn is also a little bit faster because the drivers can accelerate into the straight line instead of having to prepare to change direction to the left-hand loop as they do on the first round.
On the last round, that's true, but also the third rounds usually are a bit faster. So, but on the last one, that's absolutely true. So thank you for that. Meanwhile, the car named Hoppo is hopping over some cones. They shared a good time with the TUC cookies in Spain. And they don't have any car fun stuff, they only do serious car business.
Very serious.
Der brennt gerade.
They are one of the contenders in the efficiency award. They were third in 2018. So basically, if I look at the statistics here, if they finish, they win or top 3 efficiency. So they'll be going for that. Up next is Uni Sevilla, car number 218. Ah, that's a good slogan. Race your dreams. That's what we're doing here, all of us. For Sevilla, it's the first run of the day. Haven't seen them before. Let's see what their first lap can do. I think this will be a 5.5 or so. Let me check. It's a 5.8. Left-hander 5.6, and then the final left-hander accelerating into the box with a 5.5, so it's a 5.67. It's a good first banker lap for them. We're looking into the back of the Sevilla car. It does look that they have a little bit of positive camber out there, isn't it, Austin?
It does, yeah, which is quite unusual, I think. But I don't know if they've tested various configurations and lucked on this being the best, or if it's just an optical illusion or what. But seem to be going around smoothly, anyways.
Yeah, for sure. So they are driving, and they're driving well. I think this will be an improvement for them. Compared to their first run, let me check. It's 5.4, so almost 2.5 tenths-ish off. And I think this shows the true potential of the car. I think they can maybe scrape off 1 or 2 tenths with their third and fourth run of the day.
Here we've got Green Team Stuttgart.
Yeah, they are going for their third run. We saw them this morning. Their fastest time so far is a 5.15, and now they will be looking to go below the 5s. I'm quite sure they want that. It's a 5.05. Left-hander usually is quicker. This might be below the 5-second mark. Let's find out. No, it's a 1.49. Oh, and a fun fact, up to the millisecond, the third and fourth, so the two left-handers were equal.
That's quite impressive. Consistency is key. Just need to speed it up a little bit. But, I mean, still a very good time from Green Team.
So next team is Strohm und Söhne. That's, I think, Nuremberg.
Yeah, correct. Nuremberg with a bit of a drift around the left-hand turn. I mean, it looks exciting. We'll see how it corresponds to any sort of timing. You know, it was a clean run, especially with all that lack of traction. Quite impressive to keep it pointed in the right direction and not hit any cones. Green Team looking smooth again, a little bit of a slide in the final time lap. They sound very excited. We haven't seen the time yet. Oh yeah, very quick, 4.914. And that makes them the fastest electric car of the day. So new fastest electric time for Green Team.
So the Georg Simon UAS from Nuremberg. Car name is Nora 7. It's a shortcut for Norris Racing and is the 6th car of the team. And they commented that they were trying to build it for 2 years. And they sort of made a reset, and that's also true because the last time we saw them here was in 2018. So in 2019 they probably didn't participate. But it's good that they're back. And it's a very distinct car as well. I mean, it looks quite similar to their 2018 car, at least from the exterior.
Yeah, it does. It looks to be a similar aluminium monocoque construction. It's very elegant looking, to be honest. If you ask somebody to draw a Formula student car, I think they'd end up drawing something looking like that.
There we go with Esslingen again. And they only throttled on their active aero somewhere halfway the first lap.
Yeah, maybe they're conserving battery or something. I can imagine it consumes power quite heavily. In speaking with Kevin earlier, he mentioned the team were planning to run this in autocross, but not in endurance. And I can only assume, well, it was a very quick time, 5.09 for Esslingen. But I can only assume they're not running it endurance just because of the power consumption of the fan.
I think this might be the fastest time of the day. No, it isn't. It's a 4.995.
And also there's a cone down as well on that run, so I think their previous run will remain their fastest.
And the reason that I got excited was because of the first left-hander, which was a 4.8. So I thought, okay, if the fourth run is a bit faster even, then
yeah,
we might have been looking at fastest time of the day.
I think that's because he took a bit of a shortcut, just disregarding one of the cones completely.
So TU Valencia on track now. In the queue we have UAS Coburg for their first run, OTH Regensburg, car number 262 for their first run. And for the second drivers, so the third runs, UAS Kempten, fastest of the day so far, car number 313 TU Berlin is in the queue as well. Then we have TU München after them, and then UPC Barcelona, so some fast cars coming up here. And also I hear the team members from the Valencia car being quite happy and cheering their driver on.
One of the cars around us now smells really strongly of petrol. I just got a whiff of it. It smells quite nice, to be honest.
We missed that for 2 years, didn't we?
Yeah.
Valencia driving around in a 5.1, so for them it's an improvement. Cat Racing is 6 flat, 6.03. Cat Racing so far not... Wow, this is also sounding good. This is up there with Wrocław, I think, the Valencia car.
Agreed.
Affirmative.
Das ist gut. And a smooth run, but to be honest, the driver's nowhere near the inner circle on the right-hand lap. Or really on the left-hand lap, any big power slide.
Which worked because it was a 5 flat and they improved their time. So there was their last lap of the day with a 5.07.
That's quite impressive considering how far to the outside of the track the driver was running.
But he had power.
Yeah, and it sounded good.
Yeah, so Valencia is done and did very well with a 5.07. I'm quite sure they are very happy with that. Cat Racing, they had a 6-second lap in the first round and improved that with 0.3 of a second, making it a 5.7. Third run now for Kempten, UAS Kempten, car number 212. 1, 2, 3 cones. Well, actually he only hit 2. And the second cone hit the third.
Yeah, that was quite unlucky.
It was bowling.
I mean, really though, if you take one cone out in SkidPad, it's most likely not going to be your best time. So, say 3 isn't that much more of a hit than 2, but still not ideal.
Kempten with an improvement for them, it's a 5.8. They have 1 lap to go. Which car is this? It's Regensburg. Oh yeah, we didn't see them today. Hashtag thirsty sexy fast. Why not?
Is it just me, or does the rear wing look like it's tilted to the left?
No, that's not you. The rear wing is tilted. Very much so. Maybe this is the SkidPad setting. Probably not. Or is it tilting the other way now? No, it's not connected to the suspension, is it? No.
Still tilted to the left.
Yeah, okay. I thought it might have been linked to the suspension, but
it's not loose or anything. It's just wonky, I think is the technical term.
That is it. Very technical term. First driver queue now, also UAS Darmstad has joined, car number 242. It's quite skewed, isn't it? It's like an inch lower on the left side.
Yeah, it's not like an unnoticeable amount. Maybe their pit is on a bit of an incline, and
also it seems to be worse, but that may be because of the body roll, that it's even worse that way around. Yeah, then it adds up the body roll. Now it sort of looks horizontal.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And it's clicking as well. You hear? Click, click, click.
Yeah, I did hear the clicking. I mean,
more electric cars do that.
It's almost like the sound of like a zip tie in a CV joint or something.
I was mistaken because I just said it was car number 262 because I can remember their combustion cars. Let me check how long they are building electric cars. It can't be that long.
Meanwhile, TU Berlin takes the flag to start the skid pad again. Once again, I can confirm the driver is wearing trousers. I can also confirm that this bad joke won't go away.
Okay, the reason why I missed out on the Regensburg car is that, in fact, this is the first electric car we see in Germany, if my information is correct, since 2012. So in 2011 and 2012, I have electric results for that team. And after that, 12, 13, not in Germany, but in UK, Austria, Spain. And then 2019, they picked up the electric cars again in Austria and Spain. So I was correct that I was like, okay, why is this not a combustion car? But that's how we know them.
Yeah, interesting.
So Koberg minor stall. Fastest of the day so far in the combustion class and overall. Let's see what they can do. They are aiming for a 4.89. I'm quite sure they won't make it. I think it will be a 5.1. And it's a 5.06, so that is the time for them. Still a good time though, but no improvement for them. Up next, TU Fast, TU München. Oh, they have a good ready-to-drive sound. I think you picked it up. I left the mic open. They have driven before, and I don't think that was to the full potential of the car. Let me check. So München, oh, it was fast actually, it was a 5.05. But they did have also a DNF. Now it's a 4.92, the second right-hander. 5.2 first left-hander. And there we go, a 4.8, it's a 4.877 and also the fastest time of the day in both combined classes. Very well done.
That was a really quick lap, and to be honest, I think they can go even quicker. There was a bit of a moment of oversteer in the right-hand lap.
They are 13 milliseconds faster than FastTube. For those interested in milliseconds, of course. In the queue, UPC Barcelona and Padova. Also, KIT is coming back for their third and fourth run, car number 21. The electric car. I don't know if KIT, did they bring a combustion car this year? I didn't see it yet, I think.
I don't think I've seen it. Not so they definitely haven't, but I can't recall that they have. You know, Munich
then
back
Munich.
out. Driver really pushing.
A bit slower on the right-hander compared to the previous lap. Left-hander is a lot faster. And it's faster, it's a 4.799, the last left-hander, which makes it a 4.876. So they improved on their own record with 1 millisecond.
Impressive.
1 millisecond. I repeat, 1 millisecond.
This is the car from UPC Barcelona.
At least it was consistent. Okay, Barcelona. We're going for 5 flat, I think. 5.1.
And yeah, a few cones just right at the start of the second left-hand lap were taken out.
And I think they might be able to shave off a tenth of a second there. And I think they also have, because it wasn't an improvement. Let's see what their fastest time is so far. Yeah, so their fastest time, which they are looking to beat in their last run of the day, is a 5.088. This right-hander was a bit slow last way around. It's now considerably faster. It's a 5.09, 5.03. Last one, 5.02. It's an improvement for them with a 5.059. Well done, guys.
Das ist gut.
Está muy bueno. Oh wow, was that for me?
I think it was. Sí, señor.
Gracias.
¿Dónde está el SkidPad?
Or is it female? Is it a SkidPad? I don't know. Oh, that's 2 cones for car number 185 Padova, and the third, and the fourth, and maybe a fifth, but I think it's in the box. I think it's the first run of the day, so maybe the driver is quite aggressive, finding the line, and then on the second run, well, now he knows where the cones are. That's for sure.
Yes, he's certainly calibrated his right side of the car to the cones.
Wow, they have the Italian front wing again. They always do that. It's nice. Okay, let's see if he can keep it clean this way. Again, a very cautious start. But you can do that at SkidPad, that's no problem. And there we go, this is the timed lap. Definitely he's keeping a bit more distance from the cones, maybe even a bit too much, and there he goes, 1, 2, 3. While entering, well, transit, and that's again for a couple of cones. It's a transient part, right, where they go from the left-hander to the right-hander. You see a lot of teams clipping those first 2 or 3 cones.
I was sort of hoping he was going to hit the cone he hit the first time around back into a box. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I mean, still a good run for them. Good baseline.
Karlsruhe Electric. Can you see the extension of the chassis just for the diffuser? So it's quite long. More teams have that.
Yeah.
But you can see that with this car in particular.
And it's sort of very interestingly shaped upper chassis as well, sort of directing airflow under the rear wing.
It is like what we commented on before this morning, like seeing one of the ETS or RMIT cars from all days driving. The chassis is so similar. Also the shape of the nose, it makes quite an angle. I think in theory this could be quite lightweight because it's a closed cylindrical shape, right? You can get a lot of stiffness just by the shape alone.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to have a look at the mass in the pits later on if we can get a chance before the acceleration this afternoon.
I wonder whether they validated their claim on their rear wing about the extra drag because of the sticker.
I wouldn't put it past them based on some of the other features they've got in this car. They've really gone to like every length to maximize aero performance just based on a close-up look at the car. It's a very quick run. It was clearly worth it.
Yes, this was a good run for them. It's an improvement, and it's sub 5 seconds with a 4.908. And that puts them in a second place in the electric class.
And it's just after noon here in Hockenheim, which means, I believe, the driverless acceleration event has just come to an end. So welcome to any of the viewers who have just switched over. We've had a bit of an exciting time here in the SkidPad. We've had a pretty consistent stream of cars throughout the morning, Steph, haven't we? Normally it's very quiet for the first hour or so, but we've been busy ever since 8:30.
Yeah, when we were at breakfast, when we woke up, we said to each other, okay, it will be quiet at SkidPad for the first 2 hours, because it had been raining tonight a little bit and it was a bit damp, the track, so usually teams wait out long, maybe too long. But that was not the case. We had quite a consistent flow of cars, not too long periods of nothing, which is good for us, but also good for the teams, because you know, if you're too late, you're too late. So it's always advisable not to wait out too long.
Yeah, you really hate to see when there's a long queue at the end of the event, and unfortunately, due to the timing constraints of the competition, they can't limitlessly extend the time frame. So I think the fact that there's been a good spread has made it easier for the viewers. Fewer bad jokes from us. Less heartbreak for the teams not getting to run in SkidPad. And yeah, it's everyone's got to run, no queues. So bring on the final 30 minutes.
So up next at the SkidPad is the Trondheim car. Also we can see CTU Prague now in the queue. We can see Delft at the test track, so they will be coming afterwards probably as well. We have now entering the queue for the third and fourth run, UAS Darmstad, car number 242. And also I think that's Lisbon again for the third and fourth run coming up. Or not, they are going to the driverless test area. Oh, it's car 450. So this is their driverless car, not the electric car.
And now Luna from Trondheim has taken the green flag. It's looking very quick from them.
Yeah, let me get out my timing, because indeed you're right, Austin, it does look quick. The right-hander was quick, yeah, and the left-hander as well. So the right-hander was a 4.779. The left-hander was a 4.870, which averaged on a 4.825. And it's for him the fastest time of the day, so well done, guys. This is the point where I wanted that I have learned Norwegian, because they're standing here talking to each other, and they have one run to go, so maybe they can do it even better. And as a matter of fact, they are faster by a huge margin to everybody else. It's almost a tenth.
That's a good point, Steph, because SkidPad isn't just about finishing first. It's about finishing first with a margin and taking away as many points as you can from the other teams. There's a mathematical equation to come up with the points for SkidPad.
I'm quite sure that somebody can, in the chat, calculate what 1/10 is in terms of points, but it's considerable. That I know. Oh, the right-hander was a 4.684, the fastest lap time of the day so far. Left-hander a bit slower, there are correction and error, it's a 4.719 and average and a 4.7. They're 2/10 lose to anybody else.
Wow.
Oh, they will score points here. Wow. This is fast, this is really fast. And we could clearly see the driver making a correction there when he went out of the left-hander into the straight. I think it would be easily, it's only 1 millisecond above 4.7, but it would be easily a 4.6.8 or so. There's a lot more time in there. Wow.
I think so, yeah. Can you remind us, Steph, who the fastest combustion car is so far as well?
That was the fast tube combustion car with a 4.89. Now we are hearing UAS Darmstadt. And I think we have seen them before. Oh yeah, that was the car that elected not to run, I think. So this is their first run.
Yeah, we can guess who's back.
just below the 6 seconds on the first lap. Second lap, 5.6. First left-hander again a bit slower, just to get to know the banking, where the cones exactly are. And then he speeds up again with a 5.6, so that average is on a 5.758. No, that's not correct, it's a 5.63. Up next, CTU Prague. After that, it's Delft. After that, who knows? No cars so far.
The clean run from UAS Darmstad.
Wow, the second run was half a second faster than the first one, and it's a 5.19, so that's good for the second lap. And they have 2 laps to go. They have to be fast though, because they only have 20 minutes left.
Here's the car from Prague.
You can see that the car clearly exerts some body roll, but I do think it's a bit less than in their first round, so they maybe have set the suspension a bit more stiff. There we go. I think it's faster. No, it isn't. It's a 6.145. No improvement for them. What they are looking for.
Just spotted a washer on the ground in front of our commentating position. Hopefully it's not too important.
It's never good if you spot car parts. But their fastest time was a 5.1, so that's a gap. Let's see if they can find it. This driver needs to find about a second. I don't think the driver will find it. I think this is a clear case where one of the 2 drivers is clearly more experienced in the SkidPad, which makes sense if you only have 8 people.
Yeah, you're not going to have specialists necessarily in all the disciplines for both drivers.
And now you ask, are there SkidPad specialists? But yes, there are actually. So drivers who are okay in autocross and endurance, but certainly super fast in finding that steady state in the SkidPad. They're there, this niche of drivers. So next up is Delft. After that it's UAS Karlsruhe, car number 399. And after that, I think it's Padova again, car number 285. All of them have run before. So let's figure out what they are looking for, what their time to beat is. For Delft, their fastest lap so far was a 5.352. Already their first lap is faster, so this is looking good for them. It's a 5.102. 5.126. Big slide there, but keeping it clean so far with a 5.06, which averages it on a 5.094 for them. And they have 1 run to go. I think they will be happy with the 0.3 of an improvement that they found. Already all electric cars so far are losing considerable amount of points to Trondheim. So in terms of damage control, this is what the Delft team needed. Let's see if they can go below the 5-second mark in the last run. Surely they can try things now. I mean, they have a good time. They can now push. It's a 5 flat on their first lap, a 4.8 on their second timed lap, which is good. Big power slide on their first lap. Doesn't matter. Now he has to keep it. No, he doesn't. It was a minor improvement, but it was not clean. So unfortunate for them. Could have been. Well, I'm quite sure it would have been a sub 5-second run, but it wasn't.
It was a very impressive drift, however. He sort of held the drift perfectly, took out 2 cones with the right rear of the car. Wouldn't have been out of place in Fast and Furious.
Austin, if we look at the electrics, since we see that Trondheim is smashing the competition here, I think we have seen most of the usual suspects, haven't we? Amberg Weiden has 2 runs to go. Stuttgart has spent all of them. Bayreuth is spent. München spent. Zurich spent. Westphalia spent. Lisbon spent. Sevilla has 2 laps to go.
Yeah, to be honest, there's just over 15 minutes left, so you'd expect if anybody was going to make a run, they'd either be in the queue or in the test track warming up their tires. You can only see 1 car over there at the minute.
Okay, UAS Karlsruhe, car number 399. On their last lap of the day. Yes, and they make an improvement. It's a 4.865. And let's see where it puts them in the combustion class. Yes, they have it. It's the fastest combustion car of the day. It's 35 milliseconds faster than Berlin TU. So very well done, guys. But we have Bayreuth to go, who struggled a bit in their first run. Always in first gear, these cars are difficult to drive. There he has a lot of understeer and misses the track completely, causing him to hit 5 or 6 cones. Now it's 1 or 2 more, 3, 4 more, 5 more. Now this won't be an improvement for them, that I'm sure. So they have 1 lap left to go. Also, if you look at the car, Austin, it's quite difficult to keep in a steady state. It's quite a twitchy car to drive.
Yeah, even just coming back around to the start, you can see the driver lurching forward and backward as he tries to keep the car moving.
And still, I would count on this car tomorrow in the autocross and endurance, because it might not be the easiest car to drive for SkidPad, but I'm quite sure this will be a fast car in the autocross and the endurance track. I have no doubt about that. Okay, the driver has 1 task, and that is to keep it clean. I think their previous laps weren't perfect either, so they need a clean banker lap. And I think the driver has been instructed to do so, because he does. So well done, keeping it clean. It's a 6.5 for them. Sorry, a 5.9. Mi scusi. 5.9 for them, fastest time of the day so far. For race up. And then we have Sevilla coming in, car number 218.
I could hear Seville making some noise over on the test track, sort of driving around in circles for about 10 minutes, so I think their tires should be nice and warm.
And the Spanish team members are the best crowd so far.
Yeah,
we can say that for sure.
The loudest.
Yeah. Who's that at the test track, Austin? Is it Barcelona or not?
It's car 395. I can read that.
Sounds good as well.
And can find out who that is shortly, I'm sure.
Oh, I almost got it. It's Valencia. It's not Barcelona, it's Valencia. Another Spanish team. Sounds good. So they will come in shortly as well. Cat Racing from Coburg now, also coming here. And Regensburg, car number 62. Arguably the blackest car out here. Always have been. Coming as well. And we can also see the car from Unipisa, car number 243.
Sorry to interrupt, but something doesn't quite look right for Padova's run. Not sure if they're in the right setting or just being ultra cautious. Taking an extra right-hand loop, it doesn't matter now anyways, this is the third loop.
Team members here in the dynamic area indicate to the driver that he needs to speed up a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm quite sure that the driver doesn't see them.
Oh, he's sped up a little bit at the very end.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that'll be a DNF because there were 3 right-hand loops.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yes. The team doing their best to signal to the driver to go faster and only do 2 right-hand loops.
And whenever one of the teams does 3 on one side, always the timekeeping guys have some things to do. So we have to wait for that a bit. I think he's also now being instructed by the green flag marshal to do 2 on 2. So that's handy. It's good that he pays some attention there to the driver. Maybe calm the driver a bit. You never know what's going on inside the cockpit. So we just saw Valencia at the test track. They now come back. I think they might have had all the 4 runs already. They are going back to pits, I think. Yes, they are. I think they have had all the runs already.
In the UK, when you hold 2 fingers up at somebody, it's a rude gesture. But pretty much everybody around this driver is doing it to him now. The officials, his teammates, and yeah. I don't think it's intentional. I'm just finding it a little bit amusing. I was about to get the green flag and Andiamo.
And I have to say thanks to my my special investigators on the WhatsApp. So I was just informed that half a second at SkidPad is about 30 points. So what Trondheim did is 6 to 10 points-ish. So they are stealing points from the competition here, for sure.
The driver from Padova has picked up speed, especially on the second lap of the left-hand loop. So I think they've got a reasonable time in at long last.
I'm hearing bravos as well, so that's good.
Now got the car from Seville. And that sounded good from Seville.
For sure it did. It was a 5.312. And now Padova for their last lap of the day. They are looking to beat a 5.5. It's a 6.1.
And the driver sort of timed that transition perfectly. He just tipped 2 cones, but they stayed in their box and stayed upright. So this is looking like the best run so far.
Yeah, and it's a 6 flat. So no improvement for them. About half a second of their fastest time so far. And let's see what Sevilla can do. Okay, Seville. 5.2. It's the fastest single lap for them so far. And a 5.4. There we have it. Minor power slide. It's a 5.216.
That was
very well done.
That was muy rapido.
Venga. So this is them. Very well done, guys.
And the car from OTH Regensburg circulating, car 62. I believe this is now Coburg's last run of the day. Looks like that might need to be waved around the Regensburg car in the exit lane.
Well, Baltic Racing did a great job in improving their time with a 5.3. I'm not quite sure how this works. They have to drive on their own power all the way to the end, right? Otherwise it might count as a DNF. I'm not quite sure how lenient or not lenient they are on this, but luckily he managed to find a drive again.
And now we've only got about 4 minutes left until the close of the event, and there's only one car waiting to make a run. It's the car from Pisa in Italy.
I think Baltic Racing can be quite happy with the result, because they shave off 0.2 of a second here.
It is quite a big improvement over the final run.
Yeah, good for them.
So this will be the first run for Pisa, and you can see car 250 contemplating joining the queue.
It's the Lübeck car entering the queue now.
It better be quick though, there's only 3 minutes left.
I think more cars are coming as well, or not? Are they all coming here? No. Yes, they are. So here we have Pisa for their first run. Tranquil. Car number 842 in the queue now as well, hurrying up, I might add, to Darmstad, Regensburg again, and UAS Darmstad as well, car number 242.
And it looks very slippery out there for the Pisa driver. I'm not entirely sure why. I can see they've still got sticker tires on. But it doesn't look like they're able to take advantage of any of the grip that's out there. It's like they're driving on ice.
If I had to guess, I think they just managed to pass scrutineering, and they did not elect to run this late. But they couldn't drive earlier, I guess. I also haven't seen them on a test track, I think, so... Ingolstadt now coming up to the queue as well for their first run, I think, E34. Also a first run for Lübeck.
Weil er zu weit gefahren ist.
So there's about a minute left for the initial ending time of the event. We'll see what happens here.
What I would expect normally is that the cars that did not have a run in might get some lenience. So I think they will run. They're now closing the queue. So that could mean that all of the cars standing here now might be able to drive, but at least I would say the cars that are doing their first run, and maybe the other cars. But let's wait and find out.
The car from Pisa is having some trouble getting the engine fired and the car moving. I think they'll be given another chance. Like you said, they've probably just passed scrutineering, so the driver is still not entirely familiar with the clutch of the car. So driver spins around, does a 180 on the first right-hand loop.
That's the second or third 180 exactly on that location that we see.
It is. I'm wondering if maybe they came right from the brake test and they had their tires pumped up to maximum pressure and they've not made any adjustments, or... I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities here, but I mean, that car has zero grip compared to some of the others that we've seen.
Okay, the first run for the Lübeck team, car 250. There we go. Shifting to second gear.
It's looking quite good for them.
It's looking very good for them. Especially since they're this late. Probably had some issues in scrutineering, but now they're here and they're quite fast as well. I do not have any timing. Let's refresh.
It looks like timing doesn't have any timing either, Steph. As you can see by the...
Yeah. Probably because of the DNF from Pisa.
I think they do have timing, but it's not displayed. I'll clarify that. But it was a good run from Lübeck. Here's car 842, the half driverless, half drivered entry from Darmstadt. Stops on track.
Lübeck was a 5.68. It now comes here into my screen. So the keepers of time have kept the time properly this time. Can we figure out more reasons to put time in one sentence? I don't know. Car 842. Darmstadt now being pushed off. Let me see whether they have a time at all, because they were here before. They have currently fastest time of just under 7 seconds. This is a DNF, they have one run left to go. I'm quite sure if they can manage to get the car restarted, they can go right away.
Meanwhile, here's Lübeck again.
5.6, their time to beat. It's marginally faster. Now it's a bit more faster. And there we go, it's a 5.579. 1/10 of a second. Scraped off there.
Here we've got Regensburg again. Well, power slider on the final bit of the skid pad, keeps it between the cones and finishes the lap. It's at least a clean run.
It was clean, wasn't it? It's a 5.84, no improvement for them, unfortunately. Here we have Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt for their first run of the day. Good that they made it out of scrutineering as well. There we go. Oh, that's Schanzer Racing. They have their own song. I showed you, Austin.
You did. You showed it to me on YouTube last night. It's quite interesting. I'm not going to try to replicate their rap.
There we go. It's a 5.59. Well done. Schanzer Racing being the very first team to fill out the commentary form. So thank you for that, guys. And to all teams that have not done that so far, please do. There we go, Darmstad UAS in a 5.6. No improvement for them. Minor stall, but it's going again. So let's see what Schanzer can do. It would be great for them if they can get into the in the low 5, so below the 5.5 second mark. I think they might be able to. Yes, it's a 5.4. First left-hander clean. It's a 5.84. Now the last one on the throttle, and here we go. It's a 5.42 with a great result for them. So, last lap of the day. And it is for car 242. Let's see what they can do. Darmstad UAS. It's a 5.27 for them. It's not green, so no improvement, unfortunately, but still a very good lap. Short recap of the morning. I think we can keep it quite short, Austin. We saw Trondheim really obliterating the competition here for the electrics with a 4.7. Second time of the day also for them, a 4.8. For combustion it was high-speed Karlsruhe, UAS Karlsruhe, car number 399 with a 4.8. And in total we have numerous cars going below the 5-second mark, so that's a good sign. Overall, I think a good level of competition. So well done to all the teams, in spite of all the COVID regulations. You still are all able to build some fast cars. We're going to lunch, and we will see you in the afternoon for the driverless SkidPad and the, well, regular combustion and electric acceleration run.